Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this evening's NASCAR Cup Series race, the Cookout 400 at Richmond Raceway. In a short track Saturday night fashion, we're going to be going left for about 400 laps in today's race, and it should be a good one here this weekend. A track that is very well aged, produces a lot of tire fall off, a lot of strategy racing for a short track, and passing opportunities with different tire strategies. It's going to be fun to try to stay on top of that here tonight, while the Penske Ford's looking to be the ones to beat for the second consecutive week based off of practice and qualifying, as Ryan Blaney is on the pole 2 weeks in a row. They were bested, though, last week in Iowa. Can they be bested again this weekend on another short track in Richmond? Welcome, everybody, to tonight's live commentary stream. Again, the Cookout 400 set to begin in a little over a half hour's time. We will be having our pre-race show beginning right now with some NASCAR trivia. And as we get into the NASCAR trivia side of things, we are going to be doing a NASCAR Richmond quiz specifically here. And last weekend, the site actually ended up bugging out on us, so we couldn't finish the second quiz. We tried to do two short ones. So we are going to do all-time laps led at Richmond and see what that does for us. We'll do one longer quiz for today. And anybody who has ever led a lap at Richmond Raceway. This track has been on the NASCAR schedule for an extremely long period of time. So there is going to be a lot of old names on here that we probably don't even know. 20 minutes are going to be on the clock. We'll see what we can do. And let's get into this one. All right, so laps led at this racetrack. We're going to go Richard Petty. He's number one. Jeff Gordon's up there on the list. Jimmy Johnson. The Busch brothers. Denny Hamlin's well up there on the list. Kevin Harvick is as well. Tony Stewart. Ryan Newman. Matt Kenseth. Greg Biffle. Jeremy Mayfield has a win here. Casey Kane. Nemechek. Ricky Craven is not on here. Kind of starting all over the place. Sterling Marlin. Montoya. McMurray. Clint Boyer's another former winner. Mark Martin. No Reagan. No Bain. No Stenhouse. Allmendinger. Okay, AJ's on here. Lake Speed. Harry Gant. Ernie Irvin. The Allison clan. Bobby Isaac. Waltrip. Kelly Yarborough. Ryan Vickers. Earnhardt Sr., Jr., Jeffrey Earnhardt's on here as well. Cornish. No Ambrose. Didn't put Carl Edwards on here yet. He's on here. Truex. Larson. Bill Elliott. No Chase Elliott. This was probably last Dale Jarrett Ricky Rudd. Got Ned Jarrett on here as well. Phil and Benny Parsons. Jimmy Spencer. Kenny Schrader. Morgan Shepherd. Dave Blaney. Gano. Kiselowski's on here. A lot of laps led for him. No Busher as of this time. Yeah, a lot of these laps led in top 10 quizzes were last updated around 2017, 2018. This one was September of 2017. So, like, no Austin Dillon at this point. Michael McDowell, David Rudiman, Bill Gilliland, Elliott Sadler's on the list, Bobby Hamilton, Dick Trickle, Fireball Roberts, Joe Weatherly, no Panch, the Flock, no Lund, the Labontes, Tim Richmond, Mike Skinner on here at all? Yes, he is. Still missing a couple, like, huge ones. Looking at the chat just to see if I've missed anybody. I don't think I've named anybody who hasn't been named in the chat yet. Herb Thomas. You have Harry Gant. Missing some really big ones. Oh, Jeff Todd and Brett Bodine. Joe Rutman. 288 laps led for him here. There's a Chad Little. Ted Musgrave. Neil Bonnet. Alan Kulwicki. Dave Marcus. I do have Harvick. The Burton brothers, Jeff and Ward. Rusty Wallace, second all-time in laps led. Got Mike Wallace on here with that as well. Rick Mast. Rich Bickle? No. Jack Sprague is not on here. No Mike Bliss. Travis Quapple is on the list. Robert Presley, he's on here. Jeff Green. Tony Raines. No Reed Sorensen. No Stremme. No Yaley. Jason Leffler's on here. My mom wins. Maybe my mom will win. Maybe. Man, this is getting tough. We got 88 of 130. Steve Park. Make that 89. Johnny Benson. Scott Riggs. No Scott Riggs. Benson was on here. I do have Newman. Yeah, I did put Ricky Rudd already. Thanks for playing along, everybody. I do have Ricky Craven, or at least I attempted to put him. I don't think he was on here. Some other names for maybe the Purvis is not on here. No Wally Dollenbach. Regan Smith is on the list. Let's see. I do have Hamilton. Senior is going to be on here. Junior, no. Running out of names. I felt like I struck out on quite a few. There was quite a few names I tried to put in here that were not on the list. Casey Mears. There we go. Got another one. Did try Almirola. Bell for the win. I mean, he's been as hot, if not hotter, than anybody else in the Cup Series right now. He's finished second 3 times in a row. Crazy. I did try David Reagan already. Got about 6.5 minutes. There's another driver with over 1,000 laps led all time at Richmond that I'm missing. Who is that? Jimmy Means. Oh, there we go. Stacy Compton. Tried Nelson Stacy. He wasn't on here either. Yeah, I got Parsons, Bonnet. Of course, Richard Petty, number one. I do have Petty. David Pearson. That's who I'm missing. Wow. How did I not name him yet? That would have been bad. I was like, who else has led over 1,000 laps here? 392 is still a lot. There's two drivers with over 300 laps led and over 200 and several over 100 that I have not named yet. I don't want to give up with still 4 minutes left on the clock, but I've only come up with like 3 or 4 names in the last 6 minutes that were actually on the list. We were at 90 pretty early. We're at 94 of 130. There's a lot of guys with 1, 2, 3 laps led. Green flag pit stops like a Brett Moffitt, Stephen Light. Johnny Sauter. He's not on here. Cal Naughton Jr. I did not put that yet. I have not tried Ricky Bobby yet either. How many active drivers have been around since 2017 that I could be missing? Two and a half minutes. I haven't come up with anything in 2 minutes now. I really don't know. I do have Montoya. He actually wasn't on here, but I did try him. I'll try like a Boris said too, just for the hell of it. But could have probably guessed he wasn't on here. Did try Bowman. Jimmy Johnson's on the list. Man, I don't know, chat. I don't know. I think we're just going to give up a little early on this one. I don't like how it automatically plays ads. There we go. All right. Names that we missed. Yeah, a lot of old ones for sure. Richard Childress is on here. He led 38 laps. Doug Yates is on here. That's an interesting one. Cotton Owens, Daryl Derringer, Charlie Glotzback, Paul Goldsmith, Rex White, former champ, Speedy Thompson, the Bakers, Buddy and Buck, Billy Wade, Lenny Pond, James Hilton, Paul Goldsmith, Earl Brooks, Tim Pistone, Mike Alexander, Butch Miller, Earl Ross, Kenny Irwin Jr., Tommy Houston, Sam McQuaig, Dick Rathman, Butch Lindley, Rick Wilson, Tommy Ellis, J.D. McDuffie, Derek Cope, Joe Milliken, Elmo Langley, John Sears, Paul Menard, Hut Strickland, and Ray Hendrick. Bill Dennis, I skipped. He's on here. There's a couple names I definitely could have gotten the Bakers. I was going through some of those old names. Speedy Thompson's got over 20 career Cup wins. Probably should have gotten him. Jim Pascal, I was like on the right track when I was naming all those older, more well-known names around that time. I just didn't name him. But guys who raced in my lifetime, you got Derek Cope, Paul Menard, Kenny Irwin Jr. that were they raced Cup races when I was alive. So yeah, those ones I feel like I definitely should have gotten. I'm glad Richard Childress was on here though. That's cool. 38 laps led at Richmond all the time. Well, that's our quiz. We barely got. Man, I tapped out early, but I was out of guesses at that time. 72%. Average score was 70%. 94 out of 130. We did good, but we almost didn't get the average. That was scary. We have only missed the average score a couple times this year. On to the race side of the stream. 400 laps tonight at Richmond, 70 laps at stage 1, 230 in stage 2, setting up for a 400 lap race total. That means 170 laps in stage number 3. I said 230. Lap 230 is the end of the second stage, so it's a 160 lap second stage, 170 lap final stage. Ryan Blaney is on the pole for the second week in a row, tied for the most poles this season with Denny Hamlin at 4 apiece. Point standings coming into the weekend. Hamlin is the regular season points leader. Ty Gibbs jumps up 2 spots with a win last weekend, his second of the year. Is 103 points still behind Denny Hamlin, the only 4 locked into the chase through 23 out of 26 regular season races. Are the same 4 from last week, and really the only 4 that have a mathematical chance still at Hamlin for that regular season title. It'd be Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, and Tyler Reddick. Chase Briscoe now 5th in points, gained a couple in the standings. Christopher Bell with another runner-up, 3 in a row, is up 4 spots in points. He is now 6th in the standings and really trying to get himself maybe inside that top 5. He's only 4 points out of 5th. To make a run into the chase. He's had the speed all summer that can compete for. If he can break through into victory lane a couple times once the chase begins, he is a very much real contender. Chase Elliott 7th in points. Carson Hocevar down 3 spots after a rough weekend last week, drops from 5th to 8th. Chris Buescher still 9th, and Kyle Larson now 10th in points. What a free fall it has been for him over the last several races. William Byron is 11th in the point standings. He starts towards the front of the field tonight. Daniel Suarez is still hanging on to 12th. He also has slipped back quite a bit. It seems like he falls down about a spot or 2 in points over the last month and a half every race. Try to stay inside, stop the bleeding perhaps. He is still 100 points above the cut line on Ryan Preece, but I'd say Preece has been outrunning him as of late. 100 points is going to be a lot to maybe fall out, especially when he's still got 4 drivers that are above the chase cut line that are still behind him in points. That definitely helps put a bit of a cushion for any Suarez fans out there. But Daniel Suarez looking to hang on to it. Joey Logano, 13th in points, has had quite the surge and continues to do so in recent weeks. We'll see how he'll do this weekend. Looks to be fast again here at Richmond. Bubba Wallace looks very quick this weekend. Set a good qualifying lap yesterday. Shane Van Gisbergen, 15th in points. He slipped back the last couple of races. He did run the truck race for some extra seat time. I think that'll help him for this week, but still going to be a little bit of an uphill climb for these next couple of weeks headed into Daytona for SVG on the speed standpoint. Just hoping that he's got enough of a cushion ahead of the cut line, because right now it is very tight, all things considered. Austin Cindric, 16th in points, last driver above the cut line. He's got a 29-point cushion over Ryan Preece. Ross Chastain up 3 spots in points after a great weekend. Stage points and a lot of them. Plus a good finish at Iowa. Does Richmond have anything good for him? He did qualify a little bit better than most weeks this week, but still starts mid-pack. Brad Keselowski had a good qualifying effort yesterday. He starts in the top 10, I do believe, and 19th in points for Brad. Eric Jones, 20th, is back 2 spots, has been bleeding points as of late. Remember, it was 15th in points just about 3 races ago, so now 20th for Jones in Legacy Motor Club. So those are the drivers in the top 20 in the point standings entering tonight's race. Again, this is the third to last race of the regular season. Our first Saturday night race of the year out of 3 that will be coming in these final 13 weeks. And hope to see who's going to get it done. My guy, Ryan Blaney, is on the pole, and he was very excited about his race car post qualifying yesterday when they had interviewed him. We'll see what he can do here today. And as we look at the starting lineup for the rest of today's race, it is as follows. So Ryan Blaney going to be on the pole for this one. Chase Briscoe will be starting on the front row as well. In row number 2 will be Josh Berry, a former runner-up at Richmond, and Ty Gibbs, last week's race winner. In row 3 will be William Byron, Ryan Preece, who are outside the top 10 in points and looking for good days. Same for Bubba Wallace on the inside of row number 4, alongside Christopher Bell, who has 3 straight runner-up finishes in the last several weeks. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, a couple Fords in row 5. Connor Zilch, another good qualifying effort for the second week in a row, finished 11th last week, starts 11th today. John Hunter Nemechek will be in row 6 with him. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin will be in row number 7. Hamlin, of course, a multi-time winner here at Richmond, his home track, in fact. A.J. Allmendinger and Austin Dillon, who has won the last 2 Richmond races, in row number 8. Riley Herbst, Ross Chastain in row 9. Chris Buescher, another former Richmond winner, alongside Daniel Suarez for row 10. In row 11 will be Eric Jones and Carson Hocevar starting mid-pack. Austin Cindric, Zane Smith starting in row 12. Row 13 for Alex Bowman, another former Richmond winner, and Michael McDowell. And row number 14 will be Todd Gilliland and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Cole Custer and another multi-time Richmond winner, Kyle Larson, in row 15. Row 16, SVG and Tyler Reddick starting deep in the pack today for Reddick. And then SVG ran the truck race yesterday. 1 of 2 drivers doing double duty this weekend, him and Christopher Bell. 3, with Austin Hill, I guess, technically in the 33 as well. Hill starting 33rd in the 33 will be in the inside of row 17 alongside Ty Dillon. Noah Gregson, Josh Bilicki in row 18, row 19 for Cody Ware, and that rounds out our full field of race cars today. 37, the only open entry is Josh Bilicki in the 66 for this weekend. Again, 400 laps with 70 in stage 1, 160 in stage 2, and 170 set for stage 3. They did give the command to fire engines a couple minutes ago, so I'll turn it to the broadcast when they do come back from commercial. This race is on USA Network this evening, the second of the season, in which that has been the case. A return to big NBC for the regular season finale at Daytona 2 Saturdays from this week. In fact, 2 weeks from today. Not just your guy. Now, he's a lot of you guys' guys. So much so that actually only 13% taking Blaney for the win tonight. I'm surprised. Last week it was up over 30, I think. He was the favorite in the chat, led the most laps in that race. We'll see what he can do here this weekend. Denny Hamlin, 16% of the votes. Joey Logano, 13%. Those are my 3 favorites for this race. 58% of you say somebody other than Logano, Hamlin, or Blaney will get the win. I think of the drivers who aren't my 3 favorites that could go for the race win today, obviously the Toyotas are quick everywhere, but I'm going to step out on the limb a little bit and say guys' names who either haven't won this season, who I think actually have a reasonable shot to win tonight. Bubba Wallace has been very good at Richmond in the past, and if you looked at last year's race, both Wallace and Reddick had actually dominated, splitting the first two stages, leading the most laps. They got into an incident, I believe, with one another, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe involved in the same incident in last year's race early in stage three. And I think it was early enough that they had gone through some of the pit cycling. One of them got trapped a lap down, the other had a lot of damage. And unfortunately, neither one were able to capitalize. And that's where Austin Dillon came in and showed the speed outside of the 2311 Toyotas that was capable of winning the race last year. I don't think Austin Dillon goes three in a row. I didn't think he was going to go back to back last year, but I wouldn't have been shocked. I just haven't seen the same speed out of his car this weekend. It's been decent. I think he can have another top 10 run. He did qualify top half of the field. He did qualify mid-pack in both of his two wins in the last couple of years. So starting 16th, I guess, isn't foreign for him. He did start top 10 last week at Iowa and finished top 10. I think he could have a good day. I just don't think he's going to win the race. But if he is up in the top five at any point, he could be the favorite. Obviously, this team has figured it out 2 years in a row for a reason. William Byron is another driver with Bubba Wallace who does not have a win this year that I think could be very sneaky good of the drivers outside the top 10 in points. Byron's had a lot of good runs here in the past. The tire strategy that him and Rudy Fugle are usually the contrarians compared to a lot of the rest of the field, and that plays well for them. No matter what strategy they're on 2 or 3 pit stops or maybe one stop trying to go long if they maybe try to do something like that, which I don't think anybody's really going to do, but we'll see. They've been great with those strategy calls. I think he's going to be pretty solid here tonight as well. So those are my underdogs and picks for the race win. I'm going to take Ryan Blaney again because I've taken Blaney every time he's qualified on the pole. It's worked twice. Why not try it again? I did take him last week. He finished third. He was very happy about his race car. It just, with the Penske cars on the shorter flat ovals with this next gen car, I take them a lot. They win probably 50% of the time. And Blaney being happy about his race car the way he was, and if he's got short run speed with a track that has a lot of tire fall off, we know how good he is on long run speed. He could be very, very dominant tonight. He did lead the most laps last week. A little bit behind on the strategy side of things. I do think the team itself kind of fell behind by stage 3 last weekend, but if they don't do that this weekend and stay on top of it from start to finish, look out, field. And if we look at laps led on the season as a whole, Denny Hamlin leads the series with 877. He is a points leader. Kind of fitting that that is the case. But with all the laps led last weekend, Ryan Blaney actually jumps up to third on the season in the most laps led. Believe it or not, Kyle Larson, who's 10th in points, still the second most laps led in 2026. Christopher Bell's got 530. He is the fourth most laps led on the year. Then Joey Logano with the fifth most laps led, 13th. And I'm going to actually, I think I gotta adjust the chat for laps led that I had seen. Yeah, because Christopher Bell is fourth. I don't have him on here. I skipped him when I was putting this together earlier in the week. There we go, 530 for Bell. And obviously, Christopher Bell a threat to win this weekend, second 3 weeks in a row. Can he press one spot forward? In 2 of those 3 races, he was probably the fastest car late in the race and just couldn't make a pass on Corey Heim with the traffic the way it was at Indy. And then last weekend was fighting for his life to get by Ty Gibbs and just couldn't do it. Not going to be easy to pass here, but maybe a little bit easier if you can get off tire strategy. Could create a lot more opportunities. The chase storylines continue. Think about Jones down in 20th in points, 59. For Cindric, right for 12, only 29. How about Carson? He's already the 10th in points to get that momentum in the other direction today. Steve, can I continue that theme? You said Kyle Larson in 30th. How about Shane Van Gisbergen, 31st, Tyler Reddick, 32nd? Is that setting up for a night of the big names coming through the field? Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon, Austin Hill, Noah Gregson, Josh Balicki, and Cody Ware, who unfortunately had an incident in practice yesterday and spun heel start right at the very back of this field. But we're celebrating 80 years of history at Richmond Raceway that started out as a half-mile dirt track And there is the Toyota Camry XSE. That is the official pace car for tonight's race. Saturday night, under the lights, the Cookout 400 here at Richmond Raceway. This is NASCAR. It is NASCAR, and we are back here at Richmond. Green flag in the air, a little Saturday night short track racing. What can go wrong here this evening? I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun. Side-by-side battle for the lead off of the first turn to begin the race today between Chase Briscoe and Ryan Blaney. Briscoe on the high side. Blaney elected the inside of row number one for this initial start. Briscoe going to get a pretty good run off turn four to lead the opening lap, but he is not clear of the 12 car yet, and actually 3 wide inside the top 10 already. And that's very tight. Any short track you go to, especially off the exit of turn 2, can get very narrow. Got the likes of Bubba Wallace, William Byron, and Ty Gibbs in that battle. Nose to nose for the lead. Ryan Blaney, the leader at the end of the last lap as he's down on the inside lane, but still neither of the 19 or the 12 could get clear of one another. I think just the grip in that 12 car starting to show off on that inside lane. You can definitely tell Briscoe is just pushing so hard right now, trying to keep up with him. I can see that 19 car moving around a lot more in the center of the corner. The 12 staying a lot more steady. Is Briscoe maybe going to wear his tires out, wear his equipment out earlier in the run, pushing as hard as he is right now on this kind of a racetrack that is just an absolute cheese grater on these Goodyear tires? Your contact down into turn 1. Briscoe trying to tighten up the 12, and the 12 runs him up the hill a bit in the center of 1 and 2. Saying, don't do that to me. One driver gets aggressive, the other one steps it right back up again. Blaney wrapping the yellow line through turns 3 and 4. He was all over it. Not a lot of room to the high side with Briscoe trying to pinch him down to keep Blaney from getting good corner exit speed. I just think the 12 cars got more grip. Seems like where the Fords are best is because they have a lot more downforce than some of these other cars on every track we go to. And I think that's why it hurts them more in the intermediates. And we see the likes of Toyotas just having more top end speed at the straightaways. But on a shorter, flatter oval like this, Blaney's just able to carry the braking zone so much deeper. He's the car on the inside. He shouldn't be getting as good a drives off as, say, Briscoe up high on the top. Yet they've been side by side for the first 7 laps now, trading back and forth lap sled. We've had 4 lead changes in the first 8 laps between the 2 of the drivers at the front. And that is Briscoe, who has led for 5, and Blaney has led for 3. Blaney led the last lap by a couple of inches, and as they're side by side, Josh Berry in the 21, the Wood Brothers Ford, is closing in on both of them. Former runner-up here in the 48 car, filling in for then injured Alex Bowman back in 2022, I believe it was, for Berry. It was really his first break onto the NASCAR Cup Series scene, and had a couple of good runs that led him into getting a full-time Cup ride, first with Stewart-Haas Racing and now with the Wood Brothers the last couple of years. We'll have to see where Josh Berry's going to be going after this season. Nothing has been announced yet as he's still fighting for a job, whether that be in the Cup Series or back in the O'Reilly Series full-time. We have yet to find out, but a good run tonight could go a long way for trying to get him a job elsewhere. And he's a great short-track racer, and I think this package, tire compound, is going to help him quite a bit. We'll see how well he thrives. And again, a short flat oval for the Fords. Berry had a great run at Phoenix last season with a top 5 effort, so I would not be shocked if he has a good run here. And he actually is coming in off a top 5 finish at Iowa last week with the same package, obviously, but a little bit more tire fall off where we really didn't have much at Iowa a week ago, for the most part. So Blaney is out in front. It took about 9 laps to settle the score in that battle in the opening portion of this race today, but Blaney does win that set battle, and Briscoe falling behind a bit as he might have used his stuff up too soon. 7 laps led now for Blaney, 5 for Briscoe, and still the 4 lead changes. 12 laps into the race, the number 12 is in the lead. So Ryan Blaney in first, Chase Briscoe is second, Josh Berry third, Ty Gibbs fourth, Bubba Wallace is fifth, 6th for Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece in 7th, Christopher Bell 8th, Joey Logano 9th, and William Byron's fallen back to 10th. He's down 5 positions from the beginning of this race as we get things started here tonight. Try to refresh NASCAR.com. The raw feed is like really weird. There we go. That's better. Now we got the traditional raw feed back up and running. So Byron down 5 positions early in the race. How much is that saving tires versus just maybe not handling as well this early in the going? And then Austin Cindric up 6 spots to 17th place already. I believe is the biggest mover so far. Yep, that is the case. Brad Keselowski up 3 positions inside the top 10. Bubba Wallace up a couple spots as well. Other drivers who have moving in the wrong direction outside of the 24 of William Byron. Austin Dillon is down 4 spots after winning the last 2 races. Shane Van Gisbergen up 4 spots as well towards the back of the field. And of course, with this being a short track, could see some lap traffic before long. So those drivers who didn't qualify particularly well, like a Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson, will have to wait to see if they can move through the field. And actually, Reddick has moved backwards a couple spots from the start. And Tyler Reddick is in 35th right now after 16 laps. Larson, who qualified in 30th, is only up 1 spot in 29th. Has been pretty stagnant. Carson Hocevar is down 6 positions. So there are some big names. 3 drivers in the top 10 in points are just absolutely struggling. 29th on back through the running order. Josh Berry making a pass for second a couple laps ago on Chase Briscoe, and lap times between he and Blaney. Blaney's still a bit quicker right now. Blaney's got 2/10 on the field, lap over lap, outside of Josh Berry, who's hanging in there within about 0.05 of a second the last time by at the start finish. And I'll try to update the point standings as they run. For those of you watching the stream, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. Shout outs to those of you that have been in this stream either right now since the beginning or were in earlier. We might have popped out. We got John Barber, Lancelot, Bond 1771, Bam Hall, EJF, Frank Powers, JoJo, Joe Rochester, Ernest Linden Jr., Solomon Lee, Roz, Wade. I think Marcus Villarreal might have been in the chat at the start of the stream as well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in here on this Saturday night against short track edition of KRC Productions. First commercial break on USA Network in their open coverage of tonight's races. We are less than 50 laps to go in stage number 1. We'll go through the full field running order here. In the beginning, I kind of flashed through some of the notable drivers as well as the top 10, but here's a full look. 1.2 second lead for Ryan Blaney over Josh Berry. Chase Briscoe is in 3rd, Ty Gibbs 4th, Bubba Wallace 5th, Brad Keselowski in the 6th place position, Ryan Preece 7th, Christopher Bell 8th, Joey Logano 9th, and William Byron is 10th. 11th for Connor Zilic, Chase Elliott in 12th, Denny Hamlin 13th, John Hunter Nemechek 14th, AJ Allmendinger 15th, Austin Cindric in 16th, 17th Riley Herbst, Chris Buescher 18th, Ross Chastain 19th, and Austin Dillon 20th. Alex Bowman in 21st, Daniel Suarez 22nd, Eric Jones 23rd, Michael McDowell 24th, Cole Custer 25th, Shane Van Gisbergen 26th, Austin Hill 27th, 28th Todd Gilliland, Carson Hocevar 29th and 30th for Zane Smith. Larson just got passed by Smith. He's now 31st. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 32nd. Noah Gregson 33rd. Tyler Reddick 34th. Ty Gillen 35th. 36th Cody Ware. And Josh Bilicki rounds out the 37-car field. And he's at the tail end of the lead lap right now. We've already seen about 1.7 seconds of fall off over 24 completed laps. Blaney, the leader, fastest on track again that last lap, ran a 24.498. His fastest lap on lap 2 was the 22.738. So again, a lot of tire fall off here at Richmond. We're going to have a lot of pit stops. I'm curious to see if anybody pits in stage 1 and burns a set of tires this early, trying to see if they can make anything of it. It's only a 70 lap stage, but again, with almost 2 seconds of fall off, 1.7 in the first 25 laps, you could make up some serious ground if you tried to split this thing in half, 35 and 35 per se. And Blaney does have the fastest lap of the day as well on lap 2, which is actually impressive considering he was side by side. Shane Van Gisbergen making grounds on the outside of the racetrack. He's running up near the wall. And I'm curious to see if anybody else is going to be trying to make some grounds up there. He's of the biggest movers. And for guys that started outside the top 30, the likes of him, Larson, Reddick, he's the only one moving forward of the bunch. Austin Hill, I guess, up 7 spots as well. Austin Dillon has gone backwards a bit. The other RCR Chevy having a good run. At a track they've won 2 years in a row at with Dillon. Ryan Preece making a pass on Byron for 9th place as they've gone back and forth the last couple of laps. Only movement inside the top 10 right now is that battle between the 24 and the 60, and I think they were actually side by side with Denny Hamlin in the rearview mirror. Josh Berry a little bit quicker than Blaney that last lap. Only by a few hundredths of a second, but he still chipped away at him. Curious to see if that is going to be a trend that continues. Hamlin to the inside, 3 wide now under Byron and Preece, not wasting any time. Trying to get both cars at once. Sails it off into turn 1. Things are getting tight on that end of the speedway. Lap car not far in front of him. Byron gets out of the gas, lets the 2 other cars go, and now Hamlin and Preece battle side by side for what is 9th place. Hamlin trying to get those all-important stage points, keep pace with Blaney, who leads and comes in 110 back in 3rd. Josh Berry only another 7 ahead of Blaney in 4th. And Joey Logano is going to test some strategy early on. He qualified top 10, fell back a few spots on the start. He's into pit. Kyle Larson also on pit road. Ryan Preece is in. Austin Cindric in the pits. Austin Dillon is in.
Preece and Austin Dillon in as well.
Tyler Reddick is in the pit road.
Look like yellow flag pit stop. It's going to be just swarmed. I expect anyone who's going to apply this strategy, which is probably most of the field, will all.
Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe of the top 3 are into the pits. Josh Berry comes in.
Pit road here, but he needs about the same adjustments it's had in practice to here, Marty. And Steve's point, Dave, once one car hits here in Richmond, they all have to come to pit road. Ryan Blaney said the car was just starting to come to him. No changes for the 12th car so far as that 26 laps, Dave. Josh Berry, great run from flying 3rd. He was at the front of the pack. He now comes to pit road. 4 service from the Wood brothers. You'd expect this to be 4 tires and very minor changes right now. Denny Hamlin, who's been the master of this racetrack with 5 wins in his home track, comes to pit road now, brings the Bob Furniture Toyota pit lane. He'll get 4 tires, 12 going to the left-hand side, trying to get him on and off the pit road, get him back in the game on Richmond Raceway. His teammate Ty Gibbs on pit road, last week's winner as well. He will now hit his marks on pit lane. And the crew will go to work there as well. Comments from Ty, pretty good right now. Want to keep it right where it is. Want to keep that track position they have right now. Efficient pit stops will do that. You don't have to be lightning fast. You just have to keep your driver in the game with these multiple pit stops they're going to have all night long. It is so busy on pit road. And speaking of pit road, Jeff, this week, that pit entry to the pit line moved up further 75 feet. As they come in at 40 miles an hour. Dave, tell us more. Then William Byron makes the move he's trying to make all year. Will it be tonight on the short track at Richmond? The car is okay right now. Wants a little bit of adjustment. Has been adjusting his line. The crew very efficient. In and out for the 24. A couple penalties.
Couple drivers are back onto pit road here. Ryan Blaney, who was the leader when pit stops started, is back up to third place as the top two. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Bubba Wallace have not yet hit pit road. Uncontrolled tire penalty for the 33 team of Austin Hill. So they are back on pit road again. Now Bubba Wallace and Stenhouse come into the pits. Ty Gibbs is on pit road with a penalty also.
Be on at Richmond. He was penalized in zone 1, Steve. That's that new zone coming onto pit road. So if you look, this yellow line, that is the new start of pit road speed.
Yeah, so basically right here, this line to this line is the entrance. And it is 75 feet shorter than it once was. And that 75 feet means that if you're a little too quick, or remember, it's kind of rolling average. So if I go a little too fast over that yellow line, Jeff, I just don't have the time to give it back. And I get caught on the stopwatch.
There were certain drivers that were made well aware of it. Others were caught out by surprise.
Yeah, that's a tough break there for Ty Gibbs in the 54, speeding on the entrance of pit road. Was running up in the 4th place position. Now is 33rd, having to make a pass-through penalty. A pass-through penalty on a short track is almost a death sentence. The fact that he is off the lead lap, but does have the speed he does, he's not out of it yet. We'll see if he can get back into the free pass position. He was of the last cars that came to pit road, so he might have some fresher tires versus other drivers around him. A lot of drivers that deep in the field actually came a little earlier. Plus, he's just had more pace than them anyway. So we'll see if he can race into the free pass spot. Right now, he needs to catch Carson Hocevar. One spot ahead of him for that position. Obviously, Blaney going to be lapping more cars if we stay green to the end of the stage also. This only being a 70-lap first stage, it will be very interesting to see if any of these drivers are going to unlap themselves on the 12. You can already see the difference in Ryan Blaney being of the first with the leaders coming to pit road. Ty Gibbs looking to make his way back on the lead lap. Carson Hocevar just did also. Todd Gillen looking to race his way back on the lead lap. Joey Logano being the second car to pit road, or really the first car to pit road, is in third. Now 4th after just getting passed by Josh Berry. But Logano Cindric for Penske of the first cars into the pit lane had jumped quite a few spots, pitting even just 2-3 laps before everybody else. That's about 5 to 6 seconds you can make up. But now going to have to give it back on the other side of the run. This many laps to go in the stage, we'll see how it works out for him. Every lap makes so much of a difference one way or the other on tires at Richmond. And we're going to see that strategy all night long. This is only the beginning of it with the first pit stop of the day. We're going to see a lot more green flag stops where this came from, especially if we don't get any cautions or hardly any of them. 18.5 minutes into the race, side-by-side commercial break right now on USA Network. We're down to about 25 laps to go at stage 1 with a 1.7-second lead for Ryan Blaney over Chase Briscoe. That last time by, Briscoe about 0.3 of a second faster than the 12 car. And so Blaney is losing time. Maybe he came to pit road a little bit too early. Lap traffic could be costing him just a bit as well. But that pace doesn't look quite as good for the 12. And a 24.2 that last lap to Briscoe's 23.9. Josh Berry, actually the fastest car on the track that last time by of the top 5, as he was even better than Briscoe. Decent amount of laps to try to hold on for the stage win, and knowing that Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick are as far back in the running order as they are, this is a huge opportunity for Ryan Blaney to have a solid day today, stay clean, jump to second in points, and it could be by a healthy margin if Gibbs is unable to get back in contention in this one. He is back on the lead lap now with the tire strategy he was on, pitting longer. With the speeding penalty, he was able to surpass Ryan Blaney, luckily, but he's still buried back in traffic. At least this is a track that is more applicable to be able to make that time back up again. But obviously not the start Ty Gibbs wanted. He had an early penalty at North Wilkesboro when he was up towards the front of the field. That put him behind. He came back for a top 5 finish in that short track race. So see if he can do it again. Yeah, Blaney's still consistently about 2 to 3 tenths of a second off of both Briscoe and Berry. It's on the outside of a couple more lap cars, working his way through turns 3 and 4 at the moment. Top 5 of the running order, Ryan Blaney with 1.3 second advantage over Briscoe in second. Josh Berry 1.5 back in third. Joey Logano 3.4 seconds off the lead in fourth, and 8 seconds back is Austin Cindric still in fifth. Again, that is the top 5 in the running order. A lot Ford heavy there, 4 of them, 1 Toyota. And the highest running Chevrolet is actually Chase Elliott back in 10th. 20 to go in the stage this time by Josh Berry catching Chase Briscoe behind lap car Ty Dillon for second.
Dale Jarrett, TJ, we are over the halfway mark of the first stage. What have you witnessed? What's caught your eye?
Well, I think, the biggest thing, we all knew this, just how much of a difference the timers make. But we talk about Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick. We can thank their pit crews for getting them the spots that they gave so far. They were struggling back there in the pack, racing against guys they're not accustomed to racing around, don't really know their tendencies, but their pit crews did a good job and got them a little bit of track position.
Nothing better than the free spots on pit road, DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
Toyota Racing on board, Tyler Reddick. And DJ mentioned how many positions he's made up. Let's talk more about it with Dave Burns.
And you heard him in pre-race, Lee, when he talked to you. He's leaning on history. We have been good here. We've had pace here before, but they qualify at 32nd. Bill Scott, crew chief, told me, we can do it. I know we can do it. They just have to chip away at it. And that was a good example of it right there. Remember, they finished last week. That put them in the less desirable group for practice yesterday, and it cost them an early qualifying draw and a not so well set up race car. So they're making the kind of progress they need to make after a less than stellar qualifying effort.
Well, Dave, I will tell you, while they were disappointed in qualifying, they should be ecstatic at all of 2311 for the pit road actions. Bubba Wallace, 9.2 seconds. Tyler Reddick, 9.2 seconds. The 2 fastest pit stops on that entire cycle, both coming out of 2311 racing. It's going to be very important all night tonight.
You mentioned Austin Cindric. He's the car in front of this 23 of Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin. He has 6 more laps on his tires than Bubba Wallace and 3 more than Denny Hamlin, and he is driven away from him. He is consistently top 3 fastest car on the racetrack, or the fastest race car on the racetrack, and he has a fair amount more laps on tires. That is a really impressive start to this race.
Xfinity on board with Bubba Wallace, who, by the way, had a brilliant drive last week. Drove up through the field to the lead, then went backwards after a penalty, then tried to work his way and then kind of got hampered. He was a bit frustrated at the end, but he had brilliant speed in this car, and the 23 is shining again. He's 6th overall early on with 15 to go in stage 1 in this Cookout 400. Let's talk more about Joey Logano. It's been a productive first stage for him as well, Kim.
And Dick, before the break, you noted that crew chief Caldwell brought his driver down on the earlier side of the pit window, lap 30, to gain positions. Came in 7th, lapped 3rd, ultimately settling in the 4th position. The crew chief did his job. The crew did their job. Now it's up to Joey. Joey telling me the most important thing to him as a driver here is managing tires. When to run hard, how far you push, when to save tires. He said understanding the race flow. So, Jeff, as we talk race flow here at Richmond, how challenging is that, being that you see so many different strategies when drivers are coming down under the green flag cycle?
The key, Kim, is you really just got to focus on yourself. You've got to make the best lap time that you can. Right now, it's pretty easy because he has, pretty clean racetrack. So it's just about hitting your groove.
Briscoe still trying to chip away at Ryan Blaney, now within a second of his lead. That last time by at the start-finish line. 12 laps to go, a 1.1 second lead for Ryan Blaney over Chase Briscoe, 1.4 seconds to Josh Berry in third, 2.9 seconds to Joey Logano in fourth with a productive start to the race. Austin Cindric pitting as early as he did, jumped up to fifth. He's still holding on to that spot. He's at 6 seconds off the lead. Bubba Wallace 7.2 seconds back in sixth. And seventh is Denny Hamlin, 8 seconds back. Christopher Bell, 9.4 seconds off the lead in 8th. Ryan Preece is 12.1 back in 9th. And Chase Elliott, 13.2 seconds off the lead in 10th. Again, the only Chevy inside the top 10 at the moment. It seems like of the drivers who pitted early that were deep in the field, really worked out well for them. Both Logano and Cindric were outside the top 10 at the time of their stops. And Cindric up 18 positions now from where he started in 23rd. Wasn't looking like he was going to have a great opportunity in the short first stage to get stage points, but he's looking for it now. Ty Gibbs, not Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar, about to be lapped by Blaney. Unlapped himself initially, but his tires falling off a little early in the run, not taking care of the rears very well. Zane Smith, Todd Gilliland, both from Front Row Motorsports, not that far in front of Blaney. Actually, Gregson's there too. All three Front Row Motorsport Fords right in front of the leaders. Blaney's got to get through this traffic cleanly because, again, Briscoe is slowly chipping away at him. And now he's only half a second off the lead with 8 laps to go in stage number 1.
But they don't have their best. Briscoe in the 19. That Pro Shops Toyota is flying, and he has breached the gap while Blaney's been stuck in some traffic.
Yeah, sitting in second there, Lee. You know, Steve, in the pre-race show, you talked about all the strategy available to crew chiefs tonight. So they have sticker tires laying. They also have one set of scuff tires from qualifying laying in their pit box to use tonight. James Small made the call for Chase Briscoe to use that qualifying set of scuff tires right now. So what advantage does that give James Small for the rest of this race now that he's gotten rid of those scuff tires here in the stage 1?
Well, if we have enough yellows that you use all of your tires, that last set you put on, you want to be fresh with your stickers. You don't even want one lap on those tires. So
Yeah.
Using them up early kind of protects them for that potential issue down the road. Extra set of tires are Goodyear tires, by the way, for tonight's Cookout 400 in comparison to last year. Race Control just thought that got kind of a little bit close for comfort with the amount of tire wear, and they threw an extra set for the competitors with 9 plus a set of scuffs out after qualifying.
You got to figure with more horsepower this weekend than any other next-gen race we would have seen at Richmond with the newer package, higher horsepower for these shorter racetracks like a Richmond Raceway. Probably going to produce just a little bit more fall-off than even what we've seen before, as there's already going to be more off-throttle time. 24.9 seconds is that last lap by Blaney. Now ran a 25.6. My goodness. Some of that is lap traffic, but that is almost 3 seconds off his fastest lap of the race. 5 laps to go in the stage, and the crazy thing is they only have like 30 laps on this set of tires, so what is like 60 laps going to look like if drivers even try to push it that far later in the going? I think we're going to definitely see a lot of 2 versus 3 tire strategies in the longer stages of stage 2 and stage 3. The short sprint of stage 1, with all the tire fall I've seen, everybody comes to pit road, pretty much splitting it in half, but it's going to be more pick and choose as we get later in the going. No lap cars between the top 2 in the running orders across the start-finish line this time. It's about a 3 to 4 car length of a difference into turn 1. Briscoe trying to go to the inside lane of the track. Outside lane on entry, at least wider, initially was Chase Briscoe. Noah Gragson in the Ford trying to stay on the lead lap is not going to let the 12 car by with 2 laps to go in the stage. So this is going to be another tough pass. Blaney gets a good exit to turn 4. Briscoe trying to stay lower. Big dive down on the entry into turn 1 for Briscoe. Blaney, as he goes to the high side, Gregson kind of covers it a bit. Blaney beats the 4 off turn 2 to get to the top. And Briscoe's going to have to follow, I would imagine, to get by the lap traffic, which is going to cost him a chance to try to get by Blaney as he gets tight in the wake of Blaney's dirty air, slips up the track off turn 4. Briscoe sails it to the bottom, going to try to beat Noah Gragson. He does beat the 4 car to the inside, but Blaney gets clear on the top lane. Good drive off for Blaney, accelerates down the back straightaway, pulling Briscoe again, and should be able to hold on and win stage 1. But that 19 car looking quick here towards the end of it. Just can't get the drive off that the 12 is getting right now, but boy, does he sail it up deep in the corners and was making huge headway to the front. So Ryan Blaney, just like last week at Iowa, qualifies on pole, leads the most laps in stage 1. Now, last week at Iowa, he led every lap of stage 1. This week with the green flag pit stops, the battle with Briscoe in the opening laps, that wasn't the case, but he still led for 60 of the first 70 laps in this one. Briscoe finishes second with Joey Logano third, Austin Cindric fourth, actually caught and passed Josh Berry. Berry finishes fifth in the stage. Bubba Wallace sixth. 7th place for Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell 8th, Chase Elliott 9th, William Byron gets the final stage point in 10th. And Ryan Preece, who came in first driver outside the cut line on Cindric, was minus 29 points. Cindric gets 7 points for the stage. Preece doesn't get one as he ends up 11th, just one spot out. That is a tough break for all those drivers below the cut line right now that lose ground to Cindric. And obviously that 2 car and all the Penske cars look quick this weekend, so that could be scary. Wondering how much of a gap is Cindric going to be able to put on the rest of the guys below him in points. Went to Richmond in the mid-80s. Food concessions had no napkins available because the race officials didn't want paper blowing on the track. Veteran fans would bring their own. That's funny that they didn't want them blowing on the track back in that. It must have been like that for every NASCAR track then. Back at that time. Could you imagine though? Like, I mean, trash does blow on the track a lot, I will say, but to confiscate napkins is pretty wild. That's a funny story. $45 votes have been casted for who you think is going to win tonight's race at Richmond. I didn't set my fantasy team up before the start of this one, so my bad on that. I'm not even going to focus on that tonight. Ryan Blaney, 22% of the votes. It has gone up. It was at 13%. I think him leading all those laps at the beginning of the race has boosted his stock a bit. 18% if you take it Hamlin, he's gone up as well. I think he was at 12%. And Joey Logano's fallen down to 9% of the votes that have been casted so far. And Other, who was at 58%, now down to 51%, but still leads by a wide margin in our poll. And that will close at the end of stage 2. So you still have a long ways to go. End of the second stage, not until lap 230 here tonight, which is a little bit past halfway. Congratulations, Truck Series race winner earlier today, Caden Honeycutt. Taking the win, his first career oval win in the Truck Series, second win of the season. Closes in just a bit in the truck points.
It's brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Toyota. Let's go places. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Saturday night under the lights here at Richmond Raceway. Stage 1 complete. Pit stops are coming. Here they are. Kim Kuhner's there.
And for Joey Logano, he said it turns good to start and then loses grip center off. He's close to that right rear limit. You see that chassis adjustment. He says, I don't know if the tire is slipping or what. I need the right rear to last for a longer run, Marty.
Chase Briscoe said it's definitely turning better after that first stop of the night. He said, I feel like we have better forward drive than all of those around us. Stage winner Ryan Blaney. He said, I'm still too tight in the meat in the middle. And it is very easy to reach the bottom. Way too easy, but he wants a very small change from Jonathan Hassler. Let's see if the pit crew can do their job. What a drag race, 3 wide off the end of pit road. Lee, you're going to have to call that one.
That was full on. Blaney had the inside line. Briscoe in the middle. Great stop, Austin Cindric and the 2 team. Check this out.
Yeah, Austin Cindric gaining 1 position over Joey Logano there, and by inches just misses out on both Blaney and Briscoe in the race off of pit road. Ryan Blaney does win the race out of the pit lane, hitting that number 1 pit box. Also huge in qualifying. Put yourself on the pole and have that kind of advantage. And that's huge for the 12th team because they have had a terrible pit crew all year. They're not as bad as what they were early in the year, but they still aren't great, I will say. So running order for the front of the pack and the race off of pit road for the next restart as we begin stage 2 will look like this. You're going to have Ryan Blaney at the front, Chase Briscoe second, Austin Cindric third, Joey Logano fourth, Denny Hamlin in fifth, Bubba Wallace sixth, seventh for Josh Berry, Christopher Bell 8th, William Byron 9th, and Chase Elliott rounding out the top 10. Can anybody beat the 12th car? Dominates in laps led. Wins stage 1 from the pole. Mathematically, there's a shot he could take over the most laps led on the season after tonight. Hamlin, who hasn't led yet, Ryan Blaney came in second most laps led, or sorry, third most laps led, was only 17 behind Larson, so he's already passed him. Now is second in laps led on the year, and he is within 200 of Hamlin as we run, and this is a 400 lap race. So, for statistical purposes, that's something to keep an eye on there. I was going to show the point standings after the fallout of the truck race earlier because they only have one race remaining in the regular season, and that will be next weekend at New Hampshire. 6 drivers locked into the chase. There were 5 that were locked in going into the weekend. Ty Majeski scores enough points that he is mathematically in as well. And there's still a battle for the regular season championship as well. With Honeycutt winning today, he stays alive in that battle. He's 61 points out of first. He could score as many as 76 points if he can get the fastest lap and win all 3 stages. So, again, mathematically, he's got a shot, but a top 20 finish will do for Lane Riggs next week to get that title. As long as he doesn't get taken out in an early incident, he should be able to do that. And maybe even clinch in the stages alone. If he could score more than 15 stage points next week, he'll clinch the regular season title. So 4 spots still open. Grant Enfinger is 7th in points. Ben Rhodes 8th. Daniel Hemrick 9th. Tyler Ankrum in 10th. Stuart Friesen dropped the spot after a crash today. He is now outside of the chase cut line. Jake Garcia just behind him. Brendan Queen up a spot. And 13th, Corey Heim somehow 14th, only running 7 of 17 races. And Andres Perez 15th in points.
Yeah, there was a redesign. The new configuration is 3/4 of a mile, which starts at this very day. This Richard Childress Racing's number 3 Chevrolet Austin Dillon has a special history on the line. He can win 3 straight NASCAR Cup Series races. That's something that hasn't been done in over 40 years when Bobby Allison accomplished that in 1983. Oh, Jeff, I love a history lesson. You on all these racetracks. You bring up Austin Dillon, very quiet. We haven't talked about him a whole lot yet in the race, but here he is at 14th, and I will tell you,
He was 12.
this is a little bit of the signature of the
12
three.
at the end of the stage. He's up 4 spots.
Does his part, stays patient in the second half. Whatever this 3-car runs for a setup, or however he drives, it really comes alive with a late song.
20 it, so about 8 positions at one point during the run.
So yesterday, the thing his car was quite like he
Mostly on pit stops.
Obviously, they worked on it overnight a little bit. And showed us some great potential last weekend in Iowa, coming to one of his most productive tracks. Powered restart zone.
All right, back to the next restart. Green flag is in the air, and another great launch for Chase Briscoe on the outside of row 1. We'll see if he can hang with Ryan Blaney. Big dive to the bottom by Denny Hamlin in the 11 as he tried to squeeze under the 2 of Cindric. Lifts a little bit after getting crowded by the 2 car. And now Hamlin and Logano side by side from 4th. Meanwhile, at the very front of the field, it was Briscoe who not only timed out the restart well this time, but gets to the lead, besting the 12. Bubba Wallace up the track. I'm not sure if he had contact or missed the corner there. Josh Berry was 3 wide middle between the 23, and the 1 of Ross Chastain. Chastain gets by on the top. Berry slipped up a bit, and they're still 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Couple rows of it outside the top 10. Austin Dillon right in the middle. Tyler Reddick, who's made up quite a bit of ground from the start of the race, remember, was back in 35th at one point, now 14th. Definitely some comers and goers here tonight through the opening 70 laps. And Chase Briscoe, who was gaining ground on Blaney last stage, we'll see if Ryan Blaney, maybe that 12 team went the wrong way on an adjustment on the back half of that first stage after the green flag stop, and we'll see if maybe they went back to where they were, and are we going to see the same as the start of the race initially, where Briscoe maybe used his tires up a little more in the run? Because remember, Josh Berry actually passed him for second before the pit stops. Both Berry and Blaney were losing ground. Although Blaney held on to the lead, Berry fell back to 5th in that next run. Briscoe jumped back to second and was within a half a second of our leader at the end of the stage. Showing a replay of what happened with Wallace, and definitely looked like there was a little bit of contact from underneath. Washed him a little bit wide. Kind of a crazy restart, though, at the front of the field. Hamlin making the dive bomb on the bottom. Not a move that we usually see Denny Hamlin making on restarts, but Trying to leapfrog a couple extra, didn't quite work out for him. But the big thing is not only he didn't wreck, but the big thing is he didn't lose any spots. He restarted inside of row 3. He's still in 5th. Actually now going after Logano for 4th just several laps later. And at the front of the field as well, Ryan Blaney all over the back of Chase Briscoe. But now he's going to have to pass him the hard way. Equal tires up at the front of the field. It's not going to be easy for the 12. But, I mean, you can really see in the back half of the corner how much better the 12 is and how much sooner he's able to pick the throttle back up. He's got great rear tire security. Car just plants into the racetrack. Hamlin and Logano have been side by side for at least 3 laps now since the camera has been on that battle for 4th. With Denny on the inside and Joey Logano in the 22 up high. Longtime foes of the sport. 2 of the longest tenured drivers in the series. Hamlin the longest, and Logano a rookie just a few years after Hamlin. Back in 2009, Hamlin a rookie in 06. The battle between the 22 and the 11 looks very similar to the one that was going on between Briscoe and Blaney on the initial start of tonight's race. Blaney's fastest lap of the day on lap 2 still holds, which was a 22.738. The greener racetrack at the beginning, and it's going to be hard to beat throughout the course of the night. Knowing that you got a longer green flag run, though, you're not going to push quite that hard. Because I would imagine they're going to go longer than 35 laps this green flag run before we see cars on pit road again. I'd be shocked if that wasn't the case. Nearly 91 laps in out of 400 today. Hamlin and Logano are still side by side. My goodness. Tyler Reddick breaking into the top 10 for the first time as well in a battle with Ross Chastain. Camera is hot on that battle between the 11 and 22. Who's working harder with their race cars right now that is going to put them in a worse spot later in the run? Or are they both working equally as hard and maybe going to fade later in the run? I would like to think the veteran experience of both drivers. They're very good on tracks of trying to take care of their equipment. Maybe Hamlin a little bit more so. Actually made a little bit of contact a couple laps ago. 11 wiggled a bit. The 22 also is pinching him down. Just a racing deal. So what I kind of saw there. I mean, that's one thing too. Like, I don't think a driver who is in the outside lane should be upset with contact on any track if you're pinching the car down on the bottom as tightly as you are, because that is a defensive move to do that, to try to keep position. That if they have just the slightest wobble like Hamlin did a couple laps back, there's going to be contact. And that's kind of the risk versus reward you're trying to make on the outside by putting really both cars at a detriment. But at the same time, you don't want to lose track position, especially in this day and age. I can't blame Logano for trying that maneuver at the same time. And we see that everywhere we go. Everywhere, every series. But I do feel like cars run each other a lot more tighter side by side now than what they used to. I also think the advancements in safety probably help with that too, that you're not risking as much. The cars themselves nowadays just have more mechanical grip than what they used to, which can allow for tighter racing when it comes to side-by-side action. Already about 28 laps into the second stage. Had 8 laps of caution during the stage break. Chase Briscoe out in front by 0.7 of a second over Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric in third, Joey Logano fourth, Denny Hamlin is 5th. William Byron up to 6th place. 7th for Ryan Preece. Josh Berry 8th. Bubba Wallace 9th. And Ross Chastain back into 10th again. Tyler Reddick 11th. Christopher Bell's fallen back to 12th. Riley Herbston 13th. Chase Elliott 14th. Brad Keselowski 15th. Chris Buescher 16th. Alex Bowman in 17th. 18th is Austin Dillon. Daniel Suarez 19th. And Eric Jones 20th. Ty Gibbs 21st. John Hunter Nemechek 22nd. Kyle Larson up to 23rd after starting 30th. Michael McDowell 24th. Shane Van Gisbergen at 25th. Connor Zillich 26th after starting 11th. Noah Gragson 27th. 28th. Cole Custer. First car lap down at the moment. Austin Hill, who had the uncontrolled tire penalty during green flag stops back in stage 1, is 29th. Carson Hocevar 30th. Zane Smith 31st. Ty Dillon 32nd. Todd Gillen 33rd. AJ Allmendinger 34th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 35th. Cody Ware 36th. And Josh Bilicki rounds out our 37-car field. And again, 28 cars on the lead lap. 9 lead changes, most of them on restarts, but we did have some on green flag pit stops as well. With again, Chase Briscoe, our current race leader, and Ryan Blaney back within a half a second again. And was a little bit quicker than the 19 car that last time by. Briscoe still has clean air. They have not caught the back of lap traffic yet, being just over 30 laps into stage 2. We'll take our first break of the stream. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage continues at Richmond. I am a Blaney fan. I got the hat on. I do need to throw a shirt on. I'll make a wardrobe change here in a second. I'll throw a Blaney shirt on. You're right. You're right to call me out on that.
Watching the Cookout 400 here at Richmond Raceway. Crucial part of the season. After tonight, just 2 races until we enter the chase. And you're looking at the 2 drivers who have dominated tonight. Ryan Blaney in the 12, who sits second, has led 68 laps so far. Chase Briscoe has led 29. These guys started on the front row. They've run at the front for the majority of this evening.
Jeff, you said something earlier this weekend when you, me, and Jeff Rowe here taking laps of the pace cars. You're nice enough to take us each week. We talk about the track, and you said that you remember races here where you were more physically exhausted than Bristol. But there was something about this racetrack that your shoulders and your neck, just the consistent lateral G. Do you think it's that, or you think these drivers are also tensed up because it's so slippery? Like, what do you think of that?
I think it's a fresh straightaway. I think this fresh straightaway, it's a curve. It's a turn. You're always turning, trying to shove your head out of the right side of the car. At Bristol, it's very demanding, but you have 2 straights. You get to rest. Here, you never get to rest on the front straightaway. See Blaney trying to get to the outside. Oh, almost got there. Starting to see this trend of the 12 car having better long run speed than the 19. The 19 takes off a good speed, and the 12 later in the run just has more grip.
Which is fascinating because Team Penske, as a signature, I would say, have always been a short run organization, like in general. I mean, the last 5 years. But then here, they have found a way to adapt a now long run application.
And Ryan Blaney commented on that in the lead up to this Cookout 400 as he looks on the inside of Briscoe again. And that is looking after those rear tires. If you slip them too much and you abuse them too early, you're going to pay. There's going to be consequences. But he's looking after them beautifully at the moment as he challenges for the lead and takes the lead momentarily from Briscoe.
Briscoe's been running the bottom of the racetrack and running really low down the front straightaway. Now, with Blaney underneath him, he has to run a completely different line. Let's see what it does with the rear grip on corner exit. That's the difference. Blaney just could go to the throttle sooner. There he's clear.
Let's talk more about that 19 Bass Pro Shops Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing with Marty.
That long run chase for Ryan Blaney showing up. Chase Briscoe said on the radio a moment ago to James Small, getting a little bit of brake shake. And then James Small acknowledged that and just said this. Take a listen.
And here, but he didn't try to run field.
So, Steve, why does James Small care why Chase Briscoe would run fifth gear? You mentioned that earlier in the race. How does that help the car?
Well, James must feel that it helps rear tire life. So drivers use fourth or fifth gear for multiple reasons. One is very obvious. You downshift, it helps acceleration if you have enough grip. But it also affects the grip of the car. Downshifting into the corner kind of loads the car in a different manner. I've had drivers tell me that it helps their car turn. Other drivers say it helps secure it up. I think it's really different depending on the setup, and it is a tool drivers use. James Small wants his driver to stay in fifth. We'll see if it makes a difference for the 19. And maybe James is thinking help this long run, Jeff, that you just pointed out is the weakness to the 19.
Well, yeah, Steve, with 31 laps into this run, they're running 2 seconds of a lap slower now than they were when they dropped the green flag on this run. So you as a driver, you have to adjust the way you drive the car. You're not driving the car the way now you did when they dropped the green flag. Way less throttle, more brake input, trying to get the car slowed down. You may want to shift later in the run. You may not want to shift later in the run. Some of it is driver preference. It really is. I actually, crazy enough, I'd rather be in a lower gear because I could feel the rear tires.
Lower being fourth.
Correct. I would want to turn more RPMs because I could feel the rear tires when they were going to spin better than if I had it in a high gear and it wouldn't turn as many RPMs. Kevin Harvick, he was a little bit different. He wanted to be in a higher gear. He thought that was better.
Chase Briscoe finds himself looking ahead at a Team Penske Ford, behind at two Team Penske Fords, with Cindric looming larger in his rearview mirror.
Should have some form of green flag pit stops coming up shortly. Ryan Blaney has now jumped to the top of the leaderboard over Chase Briscoe by 1.1 seconds, a 1.6 second gap to Austin Cindric in third, 2.2 seconds ahead of Joey Logano in fourth. Josh Berry back into fifth again at 3.2 seconds out of the lead. Denny Hamlin 4.4 seconds back in sixth. William Byron, the highest Chevrolet in the running order, at 5.9 seconds off the lead in seventh. Ryan Preece in 8th is 7.4 back. Bubba Wallace is 8.4 back in 9th. Tyler Reddick 9.2 seconds off the lead. Rounds out the top 10. Reddick's actually up 7 positions from the restart, and that's amazing with how that team looked at the very start of the day and qualifying in 32nd. 115 laps complete out of 400. Only caution was the lap 70 stage break. 10 lead changes, 8 caution laps during that said stage break. And Ryan Blaney has led the most laps so far today, just over 70 laps led. 75 to be exact, 33 for Briscoe. During green flag pit stops, Josh Berry led for 1, Bubba Wallace led for 3, 1 for Ty Gibbs as well, who's trying to come from behind after a pit road speeding penalty. Gibbs is back up to 19th, and he also is up 6 positions from the restart. At the tail end of the lead lap at the end of the last stage, was a lap down for a brief moment, but had a tire advantage over the leader, Blaney, that he was able to surpass, get his lap back. Oh, 3-wide battle on track. The front row Motorsports Sandwich and Stenhouse is the meat. Todd Gilliland and Zane Smith are the 2 cars both inside and outside of him, and all that battling going on right now, I think, is for the free pass. If we were to see a caution, well, they're all lapped down, but it's not for the free pass. Michael McDowell, 28th, is the first car lapped down at the moment. Never mind on that sentiment. I did make the wardrobe change. I've got the Ryan Blaney sweatshirt on now. There we go. Now I look the part. Ashton Sminkle, thanks for tuning in. D. Tate, shout out to you as well, of course, bringing out the comment that I wasn't wearing my Blaney sweatshirt. So I didn't stream the truck race earlier. I had a pounding headache, and I mean it was rough. It was enough so that I had to take a nap. I'm not a big nap guy. With the work schedule I have now, I have been taking more naps, and I was out of it. And I'm like, man, if I'm going to be able to stream the Cup race tonight and feel like I want to stream the Cup race, I should probably go to bed. So I slept for like 3 hours, and I woke up probably 20 to 30 minutes before the stream, and I just had the clothes on that I had on. I didn't end up throwing the Blaney stuff back on yet, so I was still in sleepwear. Ryan Preece on pit road. Green flag stops for the first time in stage 2. He's the first driver in.
Ryan is asking for a little bit more grip on the longer run.
Preece hitting from inside the top 10 should bring the intensity up.
Preece was in 7th, I believe, when the green flag pit stop sequence started. So we'll see what kind of ground he can make up And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in the lead if he pitted that much earlier than the rest of the field. Ryan Blaney getting through lap traffic. Zane Smith going to second lap down through turns 3 and 4 as the leaders stay out this time by. Shane Van Gisbergen was also on pit road a couple moments ago with Ryan Preece. Of the first couple to make their way in. And now we got another driver pitting, Ty Gibbs in the 54.
That's where he was speeding the first time around.
Can't make that mistake twice, Dave. Oh, Dave warned me about that before he came. So now Ty Gibbs and Jackson Gibbs will go to work on the 54. He hits his marks perfectly. It's in the pack there, so no adjustment for him here to try to get Ty moving back toward the front where he started today.
42-second stops. It's just really unbelievable how fast it stops at the pump, Jeff. There's just no room for error. It's pure timing.
And on a night like tonight where you don't have to wait on fuel because the tires are falling off so much, the pit stops are going to be having to be clean. And that probably is part of why we've seen some mistakes already here tonight. Bubba Wallace to pit road.
Exchange issue, which led to a wheel not being secured on the left front of the 23.
Wallace is coming your way, Marty.
Just as a note after the contact with Josh Berry, about 15 laps after that, Bubba Wallace just simply said, what was that? And kind of moved on from that. They just asked him a moment ago, what big changes would you like to make? He said, I don't want to make any big changes. I would just like to tighten it up. Let's just see where it goes from there, Dave.
Josh Berry told his team it's starting to go a little bit free off the back end of that 21 car. Coming around, could use a little bit more rear grip.
No, we're going to spin.
We're spun down the track. 38 is around Zane Smith.
Problem for Zane Smith. So, first caution, that's not for the stage break, is the Aaron's Ford. Contact with the wall. He was having a tough day anyway, started going backwards from the start, and this has gone an unfortunate direction.
Thank you. Oh, just really loose. Back of the car was around early in the corner. Oh, that's a big impact, Steve. Yeah, it hit harder than I expected. Definite damage to the left rear suspension, probably the left front. 19 at Frisco, still the race leader. We're going to have to let NASCAR sort out the scoring, as we had seen some cars come to pit road. There was even some cars on pit road, Tyler Reddick being one of them. Caution right in the middle of pit sequence. Really confused things a little bit. So NASCAR will have to identify who's on the lead lap. They'll also have to identify if there is a free pass. That is, who is first car one lap down, literally at the time of yellow. Other cars can become lapped in the as the leader gets picked up. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the 19 is the leader, and he's thankful he ran a little bit longer into this run because now they can come down and score or change tires with no stress. You see the 21 of Perry right behind him. That'll be fine because he's either going to be the free pass. Right there, he's in a free pass position. NASCAR hasn't said that yet, but when the 19 pits, the 21 can stay out. So if you're a Josh Berry fan, don't panic that he's behind the leader.
Tough break, though, because he was in the top 5. Now he's going to be the tail end of the longest line on the restart because he's got a...
35 is the one I really want to see because currently riding around, he is 4 or 5 cars behind the leader. You're on board with Reddick right here. He pitted from the 10th position, but remember, this is just where he's blending. He's going to be scored in a different situation. He's going to be scored basically a start, finish line, or pit out, depending on where he's pitting and when the yellow came out. So NASCAR's going to have to sort this all out.
Steve, we've seen so few cautions at this racetrack. Crew chiefs have become almost, we're not even afraid to pit early. The negative of pitting early is if you get on pit road and the caution comes out, you get trapped a lap down. That's what just happened, but we just haven't seen it that many races in the past.
Billy Scott is curious as we are of exactly where he's going to be scored. But to your point, Jeff, I thought that they would be a little bit scared because of what happened in North Wilkesboro. The majority of the field got caught. Pit road now open. Kim Logano in front of you.
Yeah, and he's telling his team, I burned up my rear too much. Long run, I still need more right rear grip. Same problem as the first run, so they will make it right rear air pressure adjustment, Marty.
Chase Briscoe said, I actually felt like we got better the longer we ran. I might have figured out a couple of things. James Small agreed that he was pretty good on the long run. How about Ryan Blaney giving a heads up and a 10 feet to his spotter? Blaney was actually coming to pit road when that happened.
Yeah, that's why he lost the lead.
To stay out, that could have been disastrous for the 12 team. Blaney pretty happy with the handling of the 12.
Before they made that decision, the 19 was certainly closing the gap to that point made a little earlier. check this out. Coming to pit lane, and then a caution came out and a quick reactionary flexibility decision.
Yeah, spotter must have saw that car backwards on the backstretch. It's a wide view from the spotter stand.
Xfinity wants their
Under caution for incident, Zane Smith with a spin in the middle of turns 1 and 2 and ended up compacting the wall with the driver's side of his car first in turn 2. Has brought out the caution for the first time again for incident tonight, and it comes just over 120 laps into the race. Wait to see the running order in the race off of pit road. It looks like Chase Briscoe won that said race. Joey Logano second now. Ryan Blaney third. Denny Hamlin fourth. William Byron is scored in fifth. Austin Cindric sixth. Chase Elliott seventh. Ross Chastain eighth. Riley Herbst ninth. And Eric Jones now rounding out the top 10. Alex Bowman 11th. And how about Kyle Larson up to 12th? He was of the cars that had not been to pit road yet, and really benefits with this caution as he's now in the top half of the field for the first time. A lot of cars taking the wave around. Josh Berry going to get the free pass. Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece, Michael McDowell, Bubba Wallace, Connor Zillich, Austin Dillon, Ty Gibbs, Shane Van Gisbergen, and John Hunter Nemechek all take the wave around. 10 cars in total. First car scored a lap down right now. To the next restart will be Carson Hocevar. He's battling with his best friend, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Not actual best friend. I just threw that in there as a joke. Yeah, a lot of cars got caught in the pits because there were only 15 cars on the lead lap when the caution came out. A lot of the leaders at the very front of the field hadn't been to pit road yet, minus Josh Berry and Ryan Preece, I think, were the only two. Tyler Reddick as well. Those are the 3 cars in the top 10. And all of them took the wave around minus Berry, who got the free pass. They're going to be behind all the lap cars even on the restart outside the top 15. And that's a tough break. I know it's not a night ender per se, but when you're up in the top 5 like you were with Josh Berry, you still hate to lose that track position. Preece was in 7th. And for the sake of Ryan Preece, he needs stage points. He didn't get any in the last stage. And Austin Cindric did. Cindric's still in the top 10.
Southern back roads to its rise as a national institution. Yep, the sport we love. Stocky Series explores the people, the traditions, everything that shaped NASCAR.
Just a quick update. A lot of cars took the wave around because they were trapped and flat down. The leaders then came to pit road. So if you're looking for certain drivers, Larson now 13th. Reddick took the wave around. He's in 18th. Berry in 17th. So back on the lead lap. 27 cars on the lead lap. Most of our Stenhouse, Gill, and Custer, Austin Hill, and A.J. Allmendinger, the cars 1 lap down.
Big advantage for Larson right there. He's been struggling, caught that caution. He had not been on pit road. He now is running in 13th.
And he's leapfrogged Tyler Reddick. Unfortunately, it was as high as 12th. He dropped back to 18th. But restarts.
I will say NASCAR did a very good job and a quick job at regathering everything in the running order. We actually had 1 less caution lap for this incident than what we had the stage break at the end of stage number 1. Green flag is back in the air, and we are racing again with Briscoe out in front. Now Ryan Blaney in 3rd place, which is as far back in the running order as he's been so far in the first 134 laps, as he battles Logano for 2nd, and this should be an even fight with the 2 in-house Penske Ford Mustangs. And a chance for Briscoe to maybe get away a little bit, because he lost the lead on the green flag run last time to the 12 car, and maybe there's a chance the 22 actually beats the 12 and puts him further behind. Got so close to clearing on Blaney. But Ryan hanging in there on that left rear corner panel from the exit of turn 4 again. Top 5 on the restart, at least initially. Chase Briscoe leads. Joey Logano 2nd. Ryan Blaney in 3rd. William Byron up to 4th. And Denny Hamlin in 5th. It's a big slide job by Byron through turns 1 and 2. Watches wide. Hamlin with the crossover and nearly contact on the back straightaway as Byron tried to make a block. Speaking of contact, further back, Riley Herbst, Alex Bowman get together in turns 3 and 4. Herbst well up the racetrack. Same for Bowman. Christopher Bell to the inside to get by the 35. And more contact behind them. Carson Hocevar up the hill at the hands of Kyle Larson. Noah Gregson and the 4 in the mix. If you're wondering why Hocevar's up there, it's because all the lap cars restart ahead of wave around cars. So while Hocevar looks like he's in the top 15, he's actually the first car lap down in 28. Twelve car just barely hanging in there on the 22. Until I thought Logano was going to get clear off turn 4. Not quite. Hamlin did get back by Byron as well after that poor block attempt by the 24. And he is quickly approaching the 22 and 12 as they've been side by side every lap of the restart until now. It took an extra lap than I thought, but Joey Logano clear. Goes up the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. Kind of an alternate line to anybody I've seen really run today. I don't know if that was intentional or not. It looked like it. Kind of sailed the entry wide. Then tried to cut down to the bottom in the center and get a straight line exit. Denny Hamlin actually just tried that line in turns 1 and 2 now. Maybe saw the 22 hold the 12 a little bit. He's like, hey, let me try that. There's a one set line to run here at Richmond, despite the bottom being the predominant way around the track. Gives this short track a little bit more character with the age in the asphalt. Up to 50 laps led now tonight for Briscoe. Blaney at 86. Logano is not led yet, but is in a race high second place position. And the deficit between Briscoe and Logano is 1.3 seconds. 1.6 to Ryan Blaney in third, 2 seconds to Denny Hamlin in fourth, and 2.6 seconds back is William Byron in fifth. 141 laps complete, just over an hour in. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's race. Emogene Blevins, welcome to the stream as well. I don't think I gave you a shout-out yet. I think I saw you in here a little earlier, too. Thank you to everybody tuning in for tonight's live commentary stream. Get a little NASCAR Saturday night short track action. Gotta love it. Showing a replay of Riley Herbst and Alex Bowman making contact a couple laps into the restart. They actually made contact on the back straightaway. And then the next lap, it turns 3 and 4. Herbst deep into the corner, gets into the left rear of Bowman. And Hocevar weeded out a line by Larson. The next lap after that. That was just behind the battle, the 48 and 35. Like Larson just kind of lost the nose a little bit, washed up into the 77, but we're seeing some beating and banging. One way or another. Short track racing at its roots here tonight at Richmond. Back to the raw feed for a quick second. See if there's any big gainers on the restart of those that took the wave around. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick up 4 spots each. 5 for Gibbs, 6 for Nemechek. So all the Toyotas who took the wave around are moving themselves forward in the running order quite quickly. USA Network hasn't shown the chase standings as they run so far on that bubble. Ryan Blaney outscored Denny Hamlin in the first stage with the speeding penalty for Gibbs and Reddick qualifying at the back half of the field. I don't believe either one of those two ended up getting any stage points. So 10 for Blaney. Hamlin gets 4. and then 0 for both Gibbs and Reddick. Which means at the start of this stage, Ryan Blaney would be minus 103 to Hamlin. Ty Gibbs would be minus 110. And then Tyler Reddick would be minus 124. If I'm doing my math correctly. That would have been for the start of stage 2. I'm not even about to begin to do the math for the chase cut line. Because, most of them didn't get stage points. The drivers on the bubble, Logano 13th in points, was 3rd. Cinder came into the day 16th in points. He was 4th. And I think that was it for the chase bubble. Nobody on the outside. Well, and Bubba Wallace 6th. So drivers on the bubble ahead of the cut line 13th, 14th, and 16th in points. They do get stage points in stage 1. The only driver in the front 4 above the cut line that didn't was SVG. And then all the first 4 drivers below the cut line didn't get any stage points in stage 1. So they lose a little bit more ground. And the grind is going to be that much harder, not only the rest of the night, to try to get points back, as well as the final 2 races of the regular season, New Hampshire and Daytona, the next couple of weeks. We'll take a look at the schedule here real quickly. The start times for these final 2 races of the regular season. Next Sunday at Richmond, so 8 days' time with the race on Saturday night this week. Sunday afternoon, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll go live with our pre-race for that one. And then at Daytona, regular season finale will be 7 p.m. Eastern, Saturday night, August 29th. Our second Saturday night race of the year. That will be the first race on Big NBC this season.
A driver update on who is where. Behind him, Denny Hamlin, his teammate. Whoa! Contact between Hamlin and Blaney. Great catch from Ryan. That could have been ugly.
A little bit of contact late. Hamlin trying to get to the outside of Blaney. Just misjudged it right there. Misjudged it. Gets into the back of the 12. Has to check up. It's kind of one of those that Hamlin makes a mistake right there. Just misjudges it. And then they both just like, all right, let's work this out, right? No more racing for now. Then Blaney's probably not going to give him a lot of room.
Now Hamlin comes around the outside of the 12. There's still 75 laps to go in this stage.
12 car is not as good this run as he has been.
Well, I would say sunshine's completely gone now. Lights are up. I'm sure the track has made little shifts. Other people have had a couple chances to adjust on their car. The 11th's been a constant.
Splitter's fine after that contact. All the teams have an opportunity. There's photographers all around the racetrack. They send those pictures to the teams. They can pull them up on the pit box, review those pictures, look and see if there's any damage. Blaney's always fun to listen to after one of those moments. Let's see what he had to say.
It's one way to put it.
Not driving in that deep, just missed the bottom.
Fronts don't turn great. So, right in the middle of the corner, the front tires aren't turning. The car doesn't point good enough, Kim.
And you see Ryan Preece and Austin Dillon on pit road right now. Crew chief for the 60. They're really calling his driver, and Ryan saying that the sliding the tires just like the first run. I do believe it's on scuffs that last run, turning the car to overall drive. Henry Chatter on the right front with the report from the 60 car.
Yeah, this run restarted with 98 laps to go. I assume the majority of the field will break it up into 245 lap runs. It seems like some drivers are thinking 30 or 32 laps a set. That extra pit stop can be overcome with that extra rip in the tires. We watch Preece. He's going to drive away from this 19 easily with these fresh tires. Watch how much more grip this 60 is going to have. The trouble is, like we talked about in the pre-race, Jeff, you just can't be hung up in traffic. This this could be a good strategy, or it can get off the rails quickly if you don't work through traffic. Now you see to the outside of AJ Allmendinger, Priest doing a very nice job. The short tracks are where he's cut his teeth. He knows how to make this work.
That's what you want to see, clean racetrack. And then when you catch people, you want to see cars spread out. You don't want to see groups of cars because it just takes longer to get by them.
Penalty going the way of the 88. Connor Zillage too fast entering. Oh. That was just a moment ago. Meanwhile, for the race leader, Chase Briscoe, he has spent more time in the top 5 here tonight than his previous 9 visits to this track.
Wow.
Talk about performing at the right time of the season. Let's talk more 19. Joe Gibbs Racing and Briscoe with Marty Snyder. Marty?
Yeah, Lee, they just reminded Chase. So now officially here in stage 2, we have split strategies. Some trying 3 stops in the stage. They're going to stick with a 2-stop here on the 19. But for back-to-back runs now, Steve, at the beginning of the run, Briscoe has told James Small, I have the brake shake. And he told Small, in fact, it's so bad this time it's knocking the wheel out of his hands, really moving it back and forth. So what can James Small do to maybe fix that brake shake early in the run for Chase Briscoe?
Well, the first question is, what can he do, and does he want to do it? I would imagine if you have brake shake, normally it means you need a little bit more brake temperature. Whatever pad compound you're using, it's just not operating very cleanly. It's kind of knocking the pads back as they run. The concern is, how much brake do you need late in a run? When pace slows down, you use more brake. And it can be irritating, and you can empathize with your driver, but if it's not costing you speed, you don't want to take it away if you need the brakes later in the run.
It's very frustrating for a driver to see Josh Berry trying to make a move on the 48. Very frustrating for a driver to have that brake shake, but it does hurt the drivability of the car. The front tires don't work as well. I've been really impressed with the 19, but I got to tell you, this 21 car, would be willing to bet he has passed as many cars as anybody. They have a really fast car. They're going to have a few brakes to get the track position back.
Give some love to the 48, the Ally Chevy, Alex Boatman. Just got bounced out of the top 10, but he's been in the top 10 for a good chunk of time.
That caution coming out, I almost wonder if these teams are going to just try to make it to the rest of the stage on one more pit stop. It took what could have been a 2 versus 3 tire strategy call out of play, especially with the caution in the middle of the run. We still have about 60 laps to go in stage 2 with where we're at right now. Chase Briscoe is the race leader. Joey Logano in second. Denny Hamlin third. Austin Cindric fourth. And Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 5 and 5th. 6th place is Chase Elliott. 7th is William Byron. Ross Chastain in 8th. Christopher Bell 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Josh Berry. Alex Bowman in 11th. 12th is Riley Herbst. Daniel Suarez in 13th. Tyler Reddick 14th. 15th, Eric Jones. Noah Gragson 16th, Bubba Wallace 17th, Ty Gibbs 18th, Kyle Larson 19th, and John Hunter Nemechek is 20th. 21st in the last car in the lead lap, Michael McDowell, Shane Van Gisbergen in 22nd, Brad Keselowski 23rd, Ryan Preece 24th, Austin Dillon 25th, Todd Gillen 26th, 27th for Carson Hocevar, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 28th, Austin Hill 29th, and Chris Buescher 30th. I believe all 3 RFK Fords came to pit road already. I could be mistaken on that, but I believe they have all pitted. Cole Custer at 31st, AJ Allmendinger in 32nd, Connor Zillage 33rd was speeding on pit road moments ago, Ty Dillon 34th, Cody Ware 35th, Josh Bilicki 36th, 37th, Zane Smith still on track but 9 laps down after his spin and crash. Only a 0.2 of a second lead for Briscoe over Logano, as Joey Logano now looking to be the better long-run Penske Ford, just as he was at North Wilkesboro a couple weeks ago. It's going to be interesting here. It's definitely pulled from Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney slipped back a bit now in 5th. Lost the clean air, lost some track position. Car maybe going away from the 12 as he's struggling with the front tire grip. Some tire chattering for the 19 as he struggles later in the run as well. The 22 and the 11, they definitely aren't struggling as they gain ground. And now to the inside, Joey Logano for the race lead. Lap car, Cole Custer might get in the way for the 22 as the 19 tries to pick play. Cole Custer behind there. Custer washes up the track nearly into Briscoe, and now it's 3 wide middle. Into turn 3, Joey Logano going to slide all the way up the track. He's clear. Here comes a bat out of hell, Michael McDowell on fresh tires. My goodness. And Kyle Larson to pit road.
A little bit ago, we talked about the line that drivers were running on new tires. They were using the entire racetrack on the front straightaway. Watch the 22. Watch Joey Logano now that the tires are old. No grip. Look how low he is. Not only leaving the corner, but on the front straightaway. Just have to drive the car completely different. You got to leave perfectly straight. If you're turning the car on corner exit, it unloads the rear tires. It spins the rear tires. Being low allows you to keep the car straighter longer.
Hey, DJ, we just saw the 5 of Kyle Larson pit there. During that stint, he restarted in 13th and dropped to 20th. What did you see?
Just uncharacteristic of Kyle Larson and his 5 team over the years that we've seen them together. He's literally a half a second off the pace here of the leader, and that's just unheard of for that group. I assume that it's only handling. I know that they wanted to try to just be easy and not make a mistake early tonight, but they've got a lot of work to do to try to catch up and even to try to salvage something here tonight. And, he doesn't have to look forward.
All right, so Joey Logano taking that race lead away from Chase Briscoe. About a 1 second advantage right now between Logano and Briscoe, so Joey already pulling away. 2.6 seconds ahead of third place Denny Hamlin. Austin Cindric is 4.3 seconds back at fourth. Ryan Blaney, 5.9 back at fifth.
Season has it been bad enough to where they put themselves in a situation where it's going to be very, very difficult to win a championship.
Christopher Bell, Alex Bowden into the pits.
And for Christopher Bell, early in the run, he said I could be freer, but a lot better. Then, as it trended later in the run, said the balance, the best one, the 4 first few tires.
So far for Alex Bowman, much better turn this running. So I think you for 5 on exit, service complete.
It's really in that window now. 45 laps on these tires, 53 laps to go. You normally are 4 or 5 laps on the early side of halfway. Byron in front of you, Dave.
They've been working with Willie to try to get them to go to 6%. Griffin down looking for he's gone.
It's interesting to watch, isn't it? This deep into this stage. He's coming this time.
I think he's coming because it is a mess in front of him. There's no reason to catch this traffic. He loops around really nice. 19 chases him on the pit road. It'll be the battle of the pit crews. 22's early on pit road, Kim.
They told me they were going to be in the hunt. So far, Joey's saying I can than I was this run. Fine.
What's going on pit roads, and he needs a little bit more right rear grips right there. The 19 team had a good second stop. First stop today was a little bit slow. Let's see how this team recovers the speed and the 19 car to be able to get sprint here at Richmond tonight. And Denny Hamlin coming down pit road right now. And for you, Dave, he is indeed Marty. Did let him work his way down pit road. This time for Denny was not too bad. Since right at this one here, it's his heart perfectly. The two Cindric have lost off with Tyler Renault. Austin Cindric almost hit Daniel Suarez. Leaving now, Cindric slowly gets into his fits. The crew's able to go to work. Was pretty happy with the balance of his car that time, but that's going to cost him time.
Here's what happened.
2 turning in, the 7
Oh.
leaving. 7 really, by definition, the 7 has to allow the 2 into the pits. That's kind of how it would go. But I think Suarez had some chance there. I'm just not sure that the 2 had, the idea he was leaving so quickly, they could have done a better job of blending now Blaney in.
Steve, it seems like the track is going to change for everybody else. For Ryan Blaney still has the same Blaney's accuracy since the start of the race. Way too easy. Missed the bottom. You guys talked about that earlier. It feeds the fronts to work better for Blaney.
Yeah, and you're going to see that Joey Logano and Chase Briscoe are going to cycle back to first and second. Priest on older tires. Usually that strategy is third. A caution right now would be a really good break for Ryan Priest. Austin Dillon as well inside the top 10 because he pitted. You see laps on tires.
All right, Ryan Blaney being the first car of the top 5 to pit road. Well, the Cindric was, but obviously had time cost it for him as he ended up, unfortunately, leaving his or trying to come into his box as Daniel Suarez was leaving, nearly had contact, had to come to a stop and then roll in. Pitted one lap before Blaney, but lost enough time in the pits. The 12 car still cycles ahead of him, despite the fact that Cindric had actually passed the 12 on track before the stop for fourth place. And we'll see if adjustments have maybe made the 12 car a little bit better on the handling side of things, because this is definitely the worst he's looked all night, fading back to about fifth. Showing alternate replays of the Cindric and Daniel Suarez deal on pit road. Definitely could have been a lot worse for Austin Cindric. Luckily, there was no contact made there, so no damage to the car, and obviously always a dangerous situation on pit road, moving bodies around, and good thing there was no crash. Definitely could be a safety concern. Cindric trying to make up as much time back on track as he can again. As they run, Ryan Blaney is in 8th, Austin Cindric in 9th. And we're down to just over 40 laps left in stage number 2. And I'm quite surprised how elongated these green flag pit stops are. All the way through the lead lap from the post-caution middle of the stage for Zane Smith. I would assume Ryan Blaney is going to pick up the lead again. And I also would assume that the reason why some of these drivers could be staying out is because they don't want to get trapped a lap down with a caution. We see what that has done to some drivers who are up in the top 5, top 10 already tonight. Despite passes being made for the likes of like Josh Berry, for instance, he was only able to get back to 10th and still costs you a lot of time. Always makes you have to work that much harder just to get those spots back. So the only cars that are ahead of Ryan Blaney in 6th that have not been to pit road yet would be Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, and Chase Elliott. Elliott just now passing Christopher Bell on track for 4th. Chase Elliott looking the best that he's probably looked all night. Problem is we don't know exactly where he's going to cycle out in the running order. 39 laps to go. So 39 to go underneath a side-by-side commercial break, nearing halfway in tonight's race. 15 lead changes, 2 cautions for 15 caution laps, 1 for incident here in this second stage as well. By the way, Joey Logano, fastest lap of the race, lap 182. He had, and my bad, they had been to pit road. The leaders were already in. So I apologize for not being on top of that. Ryan Blaney was just a little bit later to pit, and I think that's why he's starting to pick off some positions again. And he came out roughly 9 seconds out of the lead. So Joey Logano, who was on pit road when he was, is about 0.7 of a second ahead of Briscoe, 5.1 seconds ahead of Hamlin, and 8.8 ahead of Chase Elliott. But yeah, Joey running his fastest lap at lap 182 on the other side of the green flag pit stops here. That is pretty impressive. The 22 looking strong and getting stronger throughout the course of the night. He's the only driver in the top 10 that has ran their fastest lap of the race after this last pit stop. And some of that is because they don't have that long of a run to get to the end of this stage compared to the run that they had prior to making this pit stop. Shorter than 2 pit cycles, or tire cycles, I should say, for what we have left to get to lap 230. Bubba Wallace tail into the lead lap. Joey Logano trying to put him a lap down, and that could cost him some time, depending on how long this lap is going to be to try to get by Wallace. Wallace in 18th place at the moment.
Looking at Joey Logano in the Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske, leading the way. And it puts Bubba Wallace a lap down. Tense moment for the 6th rank as allows the alternate strategy. Needs to unlap himself. Currently 2 down. A caution would be day ender or at least a big uphill challenge. There you go. Puts it from 2
to 1 down. Still not a comfortable spot. That was the scary moment of this alternate strategy when you're more than 1 lap behind the leader.
Look at the traffic up ahead. Try and weave your way through that.
Yeah, exactly. And you're hoping the 6 kind of bulldozes his way through on those fresh tires.
Morgan and Morgan on board. Lovely tribute, by the way, to the late Kyle Busch on the hood of Austin Hills 33. Because Kyle, with his time at RCR, raced in that livery, in that scheme of Morgan and Morgan many times. There is that tribute.
Kyle Busch, the famed bow with checkered flag.
So hard to imagine that he's not here in this race. Such a tragedy. One of the best drivers our sport has ever seen.
And there is his teammate. The 3 of Austin, Dylan. One of the stories coming into tonight was, can Austin get 3 in a row? Something that hasn't been done in more than 40 years here at Richmond Raceway. Well, we'll see. It doesn't remain a story. It hasn't been going his way.
I think we're starting to see why it's so hard, right? The rules changed a little bit. The tires changed a little bit. There's more power, different left side tire. And in today's world of data, the entire field studies everything you do. If you dominate a race, you are the point of focus for engineering staffs up and down pit road to try to figure out what advantage, either what you're doing behind the wheel or just where your car operates better.
The data has certainly changed the game in that, but some of that's never changed. Whenever you've got a driver or a team that is really good at a racetrack, they just raise the bar. They just make everybody have to go to work, and then that team gets afraid to change anything because it works. So why don't you want to change it? And then people get better, and now all of a sudden you find yourself trying to catch up.
Right along there with the BuildSubmarines.com forward of Brad Keselowski. How would he feel if 2 of his drivers got in, but he misses out on the chase? Well, under his owner hat, he would feel pleased. Under his driver's helmet, he'd be a little bit frustrated. 2-time winner here at Richmond. It's not over yet, but the task for the driver of the 6 is getting more and more difficult. With just 2 races left after tonight before we enter the chase. New Hampshire next week, Daytona International Speedway after that.
Heard a conversation about shifting or not shifting. You can see riding along Brad navigating himself, 5-car hit pit road.
Scheduled stop for Larson, who's going to break up this 100 laps in this stage with 2 pit stops. Jim.
Not in a good night. Balance-wise for Larson. Started early in the race. Tight center was the biggest thing. He got a little bit better. Then it went tight again. In fact, so tight in the center that he couldn't set up his angles correctly. Just reported tighter again. Chief Daniels trying to cheerlead his driver, saying, I know it's not good. You've got to tough it out. We will get the car there.
Yeah, get into 13th. He's going to fall outside the top 25. 27 to go in the stage. This is going to be an all-out sprint on this set of tires right here. For this strategy to work, you got to go and go the best you can. You see the leader right there, Joey Logano. He'll easily accelerate off the front fenders off the 43 and the 22. That will put him nearly 2 laps down, only 1 down. And I will tell you, it would not shock me if the 5 unlaps himself on this fresh set of tires in only 26 laps. He should have huge. I mean, look at the gap already.
It's been a bad night so far, but this will be the most fun he's had all night. He has way better tires than everybody else. He is going to be ripping through the field.
It's so perplexing when you have a multi-car team like Hendrick Motorsports. You got Chase Elliott leading the charge in 5th, William Byron in 9th, Alex Bowman in 10th, then Larson distant. Like it's so perplexing for everybody involved. Kim?
Yeah, and as we talk about Chase Elliott, came into this weekend with 9 consecutive finishes outside the top 10. That's the longest streak of his Cup career. Chief Alan Gustin told me the challenges might continue tonight. While we are optimistic, our short track driver program has not been there this season. We've made small improvements. We're hoping they show up today. Right now, Chase Elliott maintaining that 5th position. Spotter straight forward, coming on the radio, encouraging his driver, saying, you're good on the short run, but Chase, you're really good on the long run.
It's been a tough year for Hendrick Motorsports, and if I'm the competition, I better take advantage of it because I know this organization. They're not going to stay down for long. They're going to figure it out. You get a team like that in a vulnerable situation, you can't let them off the ground. You got to keep
your foot arms, give this team a hit of speed, and they will make you pay for it. Let's have a listen to some of the drivers about what they think, how they feel about racing under the lights here in Richmond.
There's nothing like being here on Saturday night, short track racing.
It certainly is something that I think is exciting for the fans. Obviously, more comfortable for the fans, but anytime you can see sparks at night, the paint schemes just pop a little neater under the lights, and it's a little bit easier on everybody when we're not getting blasted by the sun as well.
It's nice to be home on a Sunday, but it's really cool to be home celebrating on a Sunday. So hopefully we make Saturday night really good.
There is nothing like being here on a Saturday night under the lights. It's one of those special places. If you haven't been, put it on your bucket list, your to-do list, just to sit in the stands. The afternoon, the build-up to race night is so great, and when the sun goes down and the lights take full effect, this place is fantastic. The 3/4 of a mile, it's not that big, but it packs a punch. The racing, the history, the legends who have won here, it's an incredible place. Dave Burns, tell us more.
One of my favorites too is right now for Austin Cindric. Remember, he did up my 16th position, just 29 ahead of the Chase combine. And so I talked to Christian Brian Wilson. He said, I don't even think we can get Chase points, bonus points, stage points in the first stage because we're starting 23rd. Guess what? They got 7. So that's a big move for them. Then that saves on pit road. Brian also told me, you know what? We were 31st earlier in the year. So we look at gaining points. We're happy to be here. 20 years so far. And what a night so far, recovery and fast racing for the two.
Ever since that hiccup on pit road, well, ever since stage 1, he made up so many positions, did Austin Cindric, but then great work by the crew on pit road with that tricky situation, and then he has been storming ever since. Austin Cindric in 6th at the moment. His teammate Joey Logano still leads.
Joey Logano extending that lead astronomically at the moment. 5.7 seconds ahead of Chase Briscoe in second. 6.8 seconds ahead of Denny Hamlin in third. Ryan Blaney sitting there in 4th place, gaining a little bit of ground after pitting later in the run, but that last lap wasn't as quick as the 3rd place car Hamlin, nor the race leader Joey Logano. 15 laps to go in stage number 2 for this race. Top 5, Joey Logano in the lead. Again, 5.7 seconds ahead of Briscoe in second. Denny Hamlin, 6.8 back in third. 8.8 seconds off the lead for Ryan Blaney in fourth. To Chase Elliott, 10.3 seconds off the lead in fifth. Long ways to go still in tonight's race. We're just a little bit past halfway. The final stage is 170 laps in this 400-lap race, so nearly half of the race. And if we do go green all the way through it, again, we'll have to see if it'll be a 2 to 3 stop strategy. Caution for Zane Smith. Just kind of foiled those plans a bit. Electro Mix, Joanne Ellis, Terry Lewis, thanks for tuning in. A couple of people in the chat tuning in here recently. Wanted to give you your shout outs. Less than 15 laps to vote for who you think will win tonight's race. 61 votes. 52% taking somebody other than Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, or Joey Logano, who are my 3 pre-race favorites. 25% for Blaney. 13% of you taking Denny Hamlin, and only 10% with the current leader, Joey Logano, who's trying to win 2 short track races in the span of 4 races total as he heats up in these summer months. He's on a nice stretch of races right now. And I'm sure he'll be quick at New Hampshire next week, another shorter flat oval. That 22 team that is really starting to click on all cylinders, and we're starting to see the Joey Logano of old here. And just in time for the chase, to just kind of make you wonder, is he a driver that can shock the world and make up all the points he needs to make up? The problem is let's say even if Joey Logano breaks into the top 10 in points, which would be difficult, not impossible, but if he puts good runs together like this and like he's been doing, he could get to the top 10. If he restarts about 9th or 10th in points, he's going to be quite a ways back. And Denny Hamlin has just been so consistent this season. Like even tonight, a night where Joey Logano fastest on track right now. Denny Hamlin's in third, and he's actually battling for second with Chase Briscoe. So in the event that Logano would win, while you get a lot of points for winning, he's not going to gain all that much on Hamlin. So being as far back in the points as he would be, he's already going to be restarting over 50 points behind him. Sure, he can make up 25 there, but then you got to expect that Denny Hamlin's probably going to get a win at some point, so that would cancel out, and you have to beat him the other weeks. It's just a lot to have to make up. Not to mention, you would still have quite a few drivers between yourself and him that would also need to lend you a little bit of a helping hand in making that run at the championship. I'm not going to count him out of it, but we'll see. And we'll also have to see if the speed from the short tracks, the flatter tracks like in Indy, I'm sure it'll be quick again at New Hampshire next week, is that going to translate back when we go to mile and a halves like Charlotte, like Kansas, like Las Vegas in the chase? Season finale at Homestead. Got a lot of mile and a half racetracks to end the year. He hasn't been great at Bristol in the next gen era. Well, that's a short track. It's not of the flatter side, and he struggled. In the next gen car at Bristol, that's a chase race. He does have a flat oval, a couple of them like Phoenix and Gateway, but that's it. Talladega, obviously, he should be fast. Penske cars usually very strong on the super speedways. Saw that out of Ryan Blaney, and even Logano was very fast at Atlanta that night as well. And that was kind of the start of Joey Logano having some good runs as of late. We highlight Logano in the season that he has had. So I'll go back to the standings real quick, just to show you how good things have been lately for the 22 versus what it was early in the year and why they started so far behind. Remember, they were as far back as 20th in points about 5 races ago. And in the last 5 races, he's had finishes of 9th at Atlanta, but a lot of stage points that day. 1 at North Wilkesboro, 3rd at Indy. And last week he was 14th, but scored decent stage points. Right back in contention again here this week. 12th at Chicagoland, not bad, but he didn't really get any stage points in that race. As you see, only 25 points scored, so that wasn't really a good performance. But even early in the year, I mean, it was just such a rough stretch. Kansas, 30th, 39th at Dega, 37th at Texas, Watkins Glen, 38th. He had 4 finishes of 30th or worse consecutively. Then he scored an 8th at Charlotte in the 600, which was rain short, but then right back to a 14th with really no stage points at Nashville. Had a top 10 at Michigan, but then a 34th at Pocono. Gave all those points right back up again. 18th with minimal stage points in San Diego. 24th with really no stage points at Sonoma. Before clicking off this stretch of races, and things are starting to look well for him. And leading all these laps, he's leading right now, despite being 13th in points coming into the night. He had the 5th most laps led on the year as it is. And he's got a very good probability of actually jumping up ahead of Bell, who has not led yet today, for 4th most laps led. We've only needed 91 laps to surpass Bell. And I believe Logano's led more than that already. Never mind, 56 laps led. It feels like more because he's got a 9-second lead. But I guess this is the first time he's led today. Just wrapping up stage number 2. This time by at the start-finish line. Final lap of the stage, Austin Cindric making a pass for 4th over Ryan Blaney. See if he'll hold on in front of him. Working their way up out of turn 4. Cindric does hold on in front of the 12 car. Good pass on the last lap of the stage. Joey Logano going to get the stage 2 win, and when he won stage 2 at North Wilkesboro a couple weeks ago, he led pretty much every lap the rest of the way and won the race. Is that going to be the same here this week in Richmond? We'll have to wait and find out. Denny Hamlin in 2nd. Chase Briscoe 3rd. Austin Cindric 4th. Great day for Cindric. Double-digit stage points for the 2 team who came in, the last driver above the cut line. Ryan Blaney 5th in the stage after winning stage 1. Josh Berry 2nd. Chase Elliott Josh Berry 6th. Great improvement after being 5th at the end of the last stage. Remember, he got the free pass. Look out for Josh Berry into the back half of this race. Chase Elliott, 7th in the stage. Christopher Bell, 8th. Tyler Reddick, 9th. And William Byron will finish out the top 10. 1 point per position for those top 10 in the finishing order for stage number 2. Denny Hamlin outscoring Ryan Blaney by 3 points. Altogether here today, I believe 16 stage points for Ryan Blaney to 13 for Hamlin. So Blaney only gets 3 points on the 11 car tonight in the regular season championship battle, with Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick not getting any stage points in stage 1. Gibbs doesn't get any in stage 2 either. He's still back at 16th. And then Tyler Reddick in 9th gets two stage points. So he still loses 11 to Denny Hamlin, and Gibbs loses 13. They both lose 16 to Blaney, or 16 for Gibbs and 14 for Reddick to Blaney. Really hope this race gets decent views ratings, by the way. Last week was down a bit going to USA. Yeah, I hope so too. A lot of it is so we can have more Saturday night races. I'm a big component of that. I am so thankful I do not have to work tomorrow. Like the Sunday night races, especially when we had 3 in a row there, absolutely were killing me on sleep going into work on Monday morning. And I didn't even get to finish the one race because they didn't finish until like 2 a.m. But if that was a Saturday, I would have been able to hold on fine because I wouldn't have had to work the next morning. It would have been fine. You know, I would have stayed up for you guys. It is very relieving to know that it is Saturday and this race can get over. You know, I can get done with the stream 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight, and I can still get a full night's rest. Fans packing it in the grandstand's great to see as well.
When you bundle motorcycle, RV and boat insurance is at progressive.com. What a sight. Richmond Raceway under the lights, and here is the race leader into the pits. Kip Coontz there.
Yeah, bad news for the competition. Joey Logano saying really good. The rears hung on longer, but I did lose my rear grip there at the very end. We're pretty close now, though. So Paul Wolf, the crew chief, making a slight air pressure adjustment there.
Denny Hamlin gives up second slides to a stop. The car has been improving. He said no adjustments to that right front damage there. None apparent, Marty. 4 tires. Fantastic view of Chase Briscoe's pit stop. He says loses the right rear on entry and just has to pedal it all the way through on that run, and a terrific stop by the 19 bunch. We'll see when they cycle out. It'll be a drag race for their teammate Denny Hamlin. Boy, Hamlin barely won it.
Great race, bud.
Denny Hamlin in his progressive commercial. Talking to his car. Great race, bud. Sounds like he's talking to a kid. Joey Logano wins the race on pit road. It wasn't really going to be much of a contest there. They were able to take their time, having the 9-second lead. They did quite a few lap cars between themselves and Denny Hamlin in second. Hamlin by nose second out of the pits. Chase Briscoe third. Josh Berry gains a couple positions on pit road up to fourth. Ryan Blaney in fifth. Cindric falls back 2 spots to sixth. So that was your race off of pit road. A Ford-dominated night between the 12 and the 22. Some laps led by Briscoe, who's got a good short run car, but kind of fades on the long runs. And Hamlin, who's got a medium in both, compared to the drivers already mentioned. But obviously a top 5 car, as he's been there all night long. We're going to close out the chat poll, since we have reached the end of stage 2. Waiting for the results to tally now so I can go back through that again. You vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race. Usually close that at the end of the second stage. I'd have to refresh my page here. I closed the chat poll and I'm not seeing it anymore. There it is. Yeah, I had to refresh the page. 65 votes total. 52% of you took somebody other than Blaney, Hamlin, or Logano for the win. Blaney at 23%, Hamlin at 13%, and Joey Logano at 12%, all in the top 5 at the end of stage 2. Start of stage 3 looming. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's race. And a decent ways to go yet here tonight as well. I have to get a refill on my water. Come back from commercial. Might have to wait till the commercial after that.
Remind you to stay with us after tonight's race coverage.
Don't want to miss the restart.
Episode 2 of this new series, NASCAR Americana, presented by Busch Light. Very special one. I'm not sure if you caught episode 1, but this second episode features a formal sit-down interview with Hall of Famer Kurt Busch since the sudden loss of his younger brother, Kyle, and a whole lot more. That's NASCAR Americana, presented by Busch Light, and that's following our coverage here tonight. Richmond Raceway.
You got to look at every stat available. With the 97 of SVG did not pit. That moved him to the front of the field. He's now waving around the pace car to the last car on the lead lap in the 14th position. What are they looking at? Is this a Hail Mary? Well, I'll tell you, when you break down the last 4 or 5 races here, about 20% of the time we have a caution in the 15 laps that start this stage. So it is a bit of a stretch, but they're figuring they're only going to lose the lap if it runs long enough. They're only going to fall back to where they were, being 1 lap down. They probably don't think they're fast enough to race for the free pass. But I think this is Steven Durin basically saying, you know what? We're going to race like we belong in the chase. We're going to be aggressive. We're not going to just let it come to us. Hey, tip of the hat. I love aggressive pit calls. This is a big one.
Have a go. Now, with DraftKings, you can take your game anywhere. Let's look at today's driving factors presented by DraftKings. There they are. We'll start with how many times you're going to stop. 2 versus 3. We just saw Larson do it differently. Maybe somebody in this stage will.
You got to get through traffic, take advantage of those new tires.
Yeah, short run, long run. I'd rather be better on both. Is that possible? DraftKings is now live in all 50 states. New DraftKings customers can spend $5, get $150 in total bonuses by downloading the DraftKings app and use the promo CAR when you sign up. Let's go!
Green flag back in the air. Big restart for Briscoe inside of 3 wide as he goes into the first turn. Trying to catch the 22 napping. Denny Hamlin tried that move earlier. Couldn't pan out well for him, but Briscoe on the inside of Logano still down the backstretch and into turn 3. 3 wide for third is Cindric, Josh Berry, and Denny Hamlin, with Hamlin high on the outside in the worst position. Loses 2 spots to the 21 and the 2. Then the 2 backs up the corner, maybe a little bit too much into the first turn. A lot of bottlenecking going on and contact there as well. Ryan Blaney was stuck 3 wide middle between Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, who's up there in the running order now. Needing to have a good run, especially with Cindric having the night he's having right now. I'm sure the last person Ross Chastain wants to see winning this race is going to be Austin Cindric. Now, the good news is Chastain gets a good finish. He gains ground on his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen, who would likely drop to 16th in points after tonight. SVG had a really good run at New Hampshire last year. And Daytona, he's led some laps in recent super speedway races also. That could be a fun battle down the stretch between the 2 Trackhouse teammates for that final chase spot, if it does appear that way. Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano side by side for the lead still, as they've been every lap in the restart after Briscoe went to the bottom of 3 wide. When Briscoe battled Blaney up the start of the race, they were door to door for about 9 laps. Briscoe was in the outside lane and was able to win the battle, and this time he wins it on the bottom, though Joey might be letting him go just a bit to try to conserve tires a little bit more. Briscoe gets to the lead, and now he parks it in front of the 22, and we'll see how big of a lead he can stretch out. We've seen the 19 car lead on the short run now 3 times today. for 82 laps led total, second most in the race. Only behind Blaney by about 6 laps. Can Briscoe get it done? A lot of aggressive blocks down the back straightaway towards the back half of the top 10. Bell on Byron, then Bowman the same thing to Ty Gibbs in the 54. Gibbs actually in 15th place here, a lap down. Just all those battles going on just outside of the top 10. I was talking about SVG as well. He's up to 14th. I believe he took the wave around and is on very old tires, but was trying to catch a quick caution. Something to leapfrog in the running order as he's been outside the top 20 all day. And I think with Chastain being up there in the top 10, they're getting desperate. They're losing a lot of points. Again, of the 4 drivers, 13th through 16th in points. 3 of them have had fantastic nights, scoring a lot of stage points, and they're all running up in the top 10. The only one not, Shane Van Gisbergen. And Ross Chastain's up there now. Only 2 spots out of that chase cut line entering the night. Within 50 points entering this evening as well, looking for huge gains. He just has to chunk. He's got to get 15 to 20 a race on average, and tonight he's doing just that. He did it last week at Iowa, scoring a bunch of stage points, actually more so at Iowa last week. It was above that average. I kind of knocked it down a little bit for how much he had to gain. Lee Diffie was saying drop kicks and not DraftKings. That's funny. Head on over to drop kicks. Drop kick who? Who's Lee Diffie drop kicking? He doesn't seem like the fighting type. I don't know. Those Aussies can be tough. Probably boxing kangaroos. Yeah, definitely the best Chastain has looked throughout the night, but after a good short track run at Iowa last week, you were wondering if the same thing could happen 2 weeks in a row on another short track. Here we are. It just, coming out of that 1 week break, this 3 track stretch before the regular season finale at Daytona, they're all similar to one another. All right, so SVG's in the pits. He was probably about to go a lap down within a couple laps on those older tires. So now he pits. He'll be on fresh tires. I would assume the strategy from here is 3 stops to make it to the end of the race. So SVG probably going to try a 3-stop strategy after taking the wave around. And honestly, being a lap down allowed for this strategy to kind of come into place because you got nothing else to lose. I think at the very least, it should keep him on the lead lap. Because if everything cycles through, and that's assuming the rest of the race stays green, but if we cycle through 2 full rounds of green flag pit stops, I think he's going to make up enough time on those fresh tires to make the time back up again. But a yellow comes out and derails him. He's a lap down again. He actually cycled out right behind the leader, Logano, 2 laps down, or blow past him and get one of those laps back. Fresh tires mean a lot here at Richmond. I mean, he cleared Logano by like 2 or 3 car lengths off turn 2. Logano in second. Here's the leader, Briscoe. Now he'll get one of those laps back. 19 car, about 0.7 of a second ahead of the 22. .4 seconds ahead of Cindric and 1.9 ahead of Barry in 4th. About a 17 lap difference between SVG's tires and the leaders. Last lap ran by Chase Briscoe's a 24.407. And for SVG, it was a 23.867. So he was about 7 to 8 tenths of a second faster that last lap than the leader on just 17 lap fresher tires. Next question is does SVG have the ability to keep that lap time distance. Like, is he going to continuously run 7, 8 tenths of a second off of the leader or ahead of the leader? Or is his lap time maybe going to start to meet more in the middle by the end of the run before the leader's pit? It might be down to just a couple tenths. So I don't trust SVG's ability on an oval to necessarily have that pace sustained over the long course of the run compared to the drivers who have been running at the front all night, the likes of Briscoe, Logano, Blaney, Hamlin, even Josh Berry on this evening having a great run. Started top 5. He's up in 4th still. Had to rebound after a errant caution in the middle of green flag pit stops that trapped him a lap down. Luckily, it was the first car lap down and was able to get the free pass. He's definitely been the underdog of the night. Wood Brothers 21 machine looking to get that underdog of the race, coming off a top 5 at Iowa a week ago. Berry 30th in points. That was the first top 5 of the season. 4 top 10s on the year for Berry. We look at his success on short tracks in 2026. He had a 10th place at Martinsville Speedway, one of those 4 top 10 finishes. And back-to-back top 10s here these last couple weeks. Actually, he stuck away with a 7th at Indy, which I completely forgot about. So he's been on a hot stretch here lately. It's only 2 weeks, but I consider 3 a streak, and he's looking for it tonight. It's a great run for that team that has just been struggling this year. And they struggled last year for a lot of the back half of the season. They came out of the gate swinging with those back-to-back top 5s at Phoenix and then a win at Las Vegas in the spring. And we're like, whoa, who is this Josh Berry for the Wood Brothers? And then they just kind of fell back to running where they have the last several years with Harrison Burton, Paul Menard. But in those years in that 21 car. But for Josh Berry, needs to find a ride somewhere, and I'm sure he would like to be full-time in the series if possible. Needs to put together some more consistent finishes. The 4th of the top 10s, by the way, I was trying to find it for Berry, was the Daytona 500 at the start of the season. Yeah, even just this 2-race stretch, by far the best he has been all year. He actually gained 3 spots in points with the top 5 at Iowa last week, so he's actually 33rd in points going into last week's race. Everybody's just so clustered back there in the point standings. He actually has a good shot to jump Alex Bowman and maybe John Hunter Nemechek with a good run tonight if he goes on to win. Then you got an opportunity to maybe jump up past Riley Herbst in 25th in points. That'd be quite the climb. Obviously well out of a shot to making the chase, but more for morality at this point to have a good run for that organization, and obviously for Berry, self-included, they're trying to keep himself in this series for a long time. Blaney still has the fastest lap bonus point award. For anybody wondering who that might be going to, right now, Blaney actually dropped back another spot at the hands of Chase Elliott recently. So Blaney's in 7th, but his best lap at lap 2 was a 22.738. Joey Logano only by 5 1,000ths of a second, or sorry, not Logano, I was looking at the wrong driver. Chase Briscoe, by only 5 1,000ths of a second, ran a slower lap time at lap 241. So I think the track overall definitely gaining grip and getting faster on the short runs, knowing that the temperature is dropping in the racetrack, dropping in the ambient temperature as well as we get deeper into the night. A daytime practice in the warm, muggy air yesterday, I'm sure vastly different from a nighttime race here at Richmond, and still has left for a lot of the drivers who were as good in practice yesterday being just as good of the top contenders in the race today as well. Joey Logano 1.7 seconds off race leader Chase Briscoe. Cindric 2.2 seconds back in 3rd. Do they make a run? As Briscoe has been probably the best driver in the short runs all day today. That's where the brunt of his laps led have come from. He's at 106 laps led now, first to reach 100 tonight. As we're 270 laps complete out of 400. Just looking at the lap times, Briscoe's still the fastest car on track. And the thing is if he starts fading at this point of the run, he just needs to stay ahead of the 22 car during green flag pit stops, but also being as far back as he is could lead to Logano pitting a lap earlier. Briscoe won't be able to counter that until pitting the following lap. Logano being about 2 seconds off the lead would make up that much time, pitting just 1 lap sooner. It could leapfrog Briscoe there. Then does Briscoe get that position back? We'll have to wait and see. Briscoe stretching it out. Over 2 seconds ahead now. 2.1 that last time by at the line. Over a full tenth quicker than Joey Logano the last lap. Fastest car on track. And has track position to go with it.
Chastain and Trackhouse right now in 9th, Kim.
And for Christopher Bell running into 10th position, they emphasize to me we have to keep performing at the level we have shown recently. Remember, they've got 7 runner-up finishes this season. We will be title contenders if we can do that. For Christopher Bell, it's about keeping the balance close all night. The last straight really helped his corner entry and exit, though. He is starting to get tight through the center.
The amazing season after that injured wrist earlier in the year for Christopher Bell continues.
All right, just over 100 laps to go still. Chase Briscoe out in front of the field. Joey Logano in second. Austin Cindric third. Josh Berry fourth. Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 5 and 5th. We'll take a quick break as well. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's race. Josh, I think just trying to find full-time O'Reilly ride. All the Cup Series have already been signed. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know of any vacancies for the Cup Series for next season. There's going to be a couple of big ones, though, in 2027. 2027 silly season, 2028 season. With Denny Hamlin's contract up, does he retire? The 48 car is going to be open. And I mean, it's likely that maybe Brent Cruz jumps up and takes that 11 car, but we don't know for sure. He hasn't even won an O'Reilly race yet, so I wouldn't say that's for sure. Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and others in the pits.
Drivers that are pitting right here are basically committing to a 3-stop strategy.
Briscoe on his way in.
Jump on board with Hamlin and Logano and others. Pit road extremely busy. To be honest, I'm waiting to see a driver who doesn't pit to see if anyone is
Josh
willing
Berry,
to only
Austin
pit
Cindric
twice.
are also in.
Cindric also on pit road.
Ryan
Cindric
Blaney's
races
in.
first on speed tonight, even though he's only led or has yet to lead. Great speed out of that 2 car. Consistency, Steven's been all about
Rush Chastain, Ty Gibbs are in.
Austin Cindric hits his marks, Marty. Non-pit road, Dave. 121 to go here at Richmond. And such a quick car for Chase Briscoe. No complaints about the handling. Chastain has to work his way into his stall around the 19 cam.
Chase Elliott had that very first box upon pit entry, skid there in the 9 car second. Feel different balance right his front. Similar to last run. Remember, he was protecting the back of that race car. Still feels like the turn's pretty good. A little slow there, though. It looked like
issue on the left rear cam. I couldn't tell. It looked like the new tire was on, or if maybe they had trouble with the exchange. But 11.8 seconds you see on the bottom left compared to, say,
Kyle Larson trying to stay out, run a little bit long. Other cars still making their way down onto pit road. So Larson takes over the lead for the first time tonight. And it's in the middle of green flag pit stops. Larson, Reddick, and Bowman have yet to hit pit road. Chase Briscoe 11 seconds out of the lead, and fourth has been to the pit lane already. Joey Logano was not able to leapfrog him in that positioning order. Shane Van Gisbergen did not make his lap back up, by the way. He is still a lap down. Well, I should say he's a lap down with the 5 car in the lead, and the 5 is now on the pit road.
Even when you're struggling, this team has been struggling tonight. You see that chassis right to the back of the race car. Kyle Larson just complaining of a tight position all race long. Still looking a little bit slow on the right side, or excuse me, the left side for them.
Left rear. The green flag pit stop, 13 seconds.
Oh, Hocevar up against the wall.
oh, and a yellow would be huge for Reddick to turn the pit road. You hear the radio on the 77. NASCAR, I believe, is going to have to put the caution down. He stopped in turn 3. There it is. Is this it? Is this a yellow? And Tyler Reddick, is this going to be the change of fortune for Tyler Reddick? Is this going to flip the pendulum to the positive?
Well, he has been grinding all night, got himself back on the lead lap, fighting hard. This is 2 weeks in a row. Nightmare for the 77 of Hocevar. Wow.
That sounded like
It sounds like a mischief. Like almost,
yeah.
like he downshifted it.
So sorry. Let's listen to that one more time. Really focus, Jeff. I wasn't sure what we were going to hear. Maybe we can hear that one more time a little bit earlier on the straightaway, because I guess he just was already in 4th. Maybe thought he was in 5th, and he was really in 4th, and he downshifted to 3rd.
Right along. It's an engine builder's nightmare, right? That's a zinger right there.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened, other than you could definitely hear the engine rev, and the driver says he's sorry. So something that Hocevar,
This is going to hurt him in points. Another bad race last week.
He went from 5th to 8th in the points, and it's going to get worse at the end of tonight.
and just wait 2 more weeks. Diffie, I've been thinking about this, about what 10 weeks is like. It's 70 days. No off weeks. Like, you can't have this in the chase and think that you could just be okay. You can't have this if you win a bunch of races. Marty, what are you hearing on the 77?
Yeah, I just talked to Matt McCall, one of the heads of competition at Spire Motorsports. I said, did he go from 5th to 3rd? And Matt said, yes, it looks like that's what happened.
Double downshift.
Thanks to the AMR safety team, they were there very speedily. But this is 2 weeks in a row. Listen, Hocevar was 5th in the points at the break, the weekend off, going into Iowa. And ever since, it's gone the wrong way.
So I mentioned the big break for Reddick. Well, he was yet to come to pit road. The only car on the lead lap who had yet to pit. It's going to be a huge opportunity. But let me just add, SVG, 13th. That alternate strategy for SVG. So a huge break for Reddick. SVG technically had pitted, but on an off sequence. So 2 cars in the chase currently, both getting fortunate by making decisions. Remember, this is lucky, but this is luck they created themselves. Billy Scott right there in the bottom left. Give yourself a pat on the back, Billy. Making yourself a little bit of luck.
Think about what USA Sports' Dustin Long told us earlier today about having a conversation with Billy Scott, Michael Jordan, addressing the gang, addressing the organization, saying, hey, let's go. We know what we're capable of. And just giving everybody a pump up. The 23 team, the 45 team, everybody saying, let's get this back on track.
Well, one of the greatest competitor in the history of sports, and not only a competitor, a winner in Michael Jordan. Who else would you want to hear from?
Dave?
And did the driver of the 45, Tyler Reddick, know how great that caution was? Listen.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. He knew that was a break they needed tonight. Tyler Reddick now, they'll come to pit road. And who else do you think will follow, Steve?
Well, Dave, I'm going to tell you, I think it comes down to how many sets you have left. Everybody on the lead lap wants to come. They definitely don't want to restart with 7, 8, or 9, 10 laps on their tires. But the problem is, with this multiple stop strategy, you will not have the extra set. So not only has Reddick got lucky because of his track position, but he also has saved a set of tires. And you see the decision. Hamlin came, others stayed on the racetrack. That's not a strategy because what do they think will work? It's a strategy because they don't want to burn a set of Goodyear tires, Dave.
Denny Hamlin comes to pit road. He said it fired off well, but I don't like being pushed 3 wide. I believe that was a Josh Berry reference. Tyler Reddick now gets his 4 tires. He said it was losing grip, pushing through tight at the end of that run, Holly. You see Ryan Blaney coming down pit road. Originally, they had talked about staying out here, but they decided to come down for Blaney. How about that? A 2-tire call at Richmond.
I think the drivers pitting right now are going to be in a much better spot.
That is definitely not in my playbook. Wait to see how it works out. I don't think I've ever seen that, Marty.
SVG getting serviced in the background. We're back.
All right, here we go. About 111 laps to go. Caution out. Carson Hocevar. Double downshift. Blows the transmission. Park on the track in the middle of 3 and 4 as he couldn't get back down to pit road. And as this brings out our 4th yellow of the night, it's our second for incident, first in stage 3. And just like earlier in the race in stage 2, we were right in the middle of green flag pit stops. And Tyler Reddick was on the front side of it. He was the leader when the caution came out trying to run long. And he is going to be up towards the front of the field still. At least of those that pitted. Top 7 cars stay on the racetrack. They do not pit. So the top 7 that stay out would include Chase Briscoe in the lead, Joey Logano 2nd, Austin Cindric 3rd, Josh Berry 4th, Chase Elliott 5th, and Alex Bowman now in 6th. Chastain also stayed out. Ryan Blaney took 2 tires, rights only. I don't know if that's going to work. I feel like if you were going to come down into the pits, you might as well have taken 4. I can understand why he did that, so he could cycle out in front of Reddick and Hamlin, but I don't think 2 positions is going to be worth only taking 2. Not here. And then the other cars that would be on 4 fresh tires would be Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Shane Van Gisbergen, Kyle Larson. For the lead lap cars, SVG strategy worked of taking the wave around the pitting short side of the run they cycled through, at least enough so that he got back on the lead lap, and didn't run long enough to lose that lap again on older tires on the back side of the run. So he's up in the top 15 on this restart on equal tires with those around him. Ty Gibbs is a lap down at 15th. He's the first car off the lead lap at the moment.
Friends at Bank of America are proud to be the title sponsor of the chase race this October at Charlotte, which will return to this year from the Roval in previous years to the Bank of America 400. Look forward to seeing you all there. Several hours down the road from where we are here in Richmond, Virginia.
So you were going to the choose. Everybody's picking inside lane, outside lane. Let's go back to the 5 car because this is the second time this has happened to him tonight. Kyle Larson, first car a lap down when the caution came out. So that puts him back in the lead lap. However, let's see where they line him up. He is running in 14th place, the last car in the lead lap, but he has essentially 29 cars in front of him, 28 cars in front of him. So he's got to go through all these lap cars because you line up behind all the lap down cars in the lead lap. A ton of work to do. He's seen it multiple times tonight.
It's not much, but 4 or 5 lap pressure tires on Blaney, Reddick, Hamlin. They should have a huge.
I don't think Blaney's going to have as much as the guys behind him that took 4, but we'll see. Green flag is going to be back in the air. Briscoe, Logano on the front row. And what kind of speed are we going to see behind him? Already fanning out the 3 wide into the first turn. Ryan Blaney not wasting any time trying to get to the top side of the track. Tyler Reddick down low, 4 wide and contact off turn 2. Tyler Reddick, who's been a hero on restarts mostly early in the season, just picked up like 5 positions in the first lap of the restart. He was on the inside of the 4 wide. Josh Berry in the 21 still trying to get regathered after getting sandwiched in the middle of all of it. He's now back in 9th. And Reddick is the first of the 4 fresh Goodyear tires up inside the top 5. And gets another one as he's up to 4th, passing Chase Elliott. Christopher Bell's the next closest to him in 5th. Is Bell going to finish 2nd again? All joking aside, he's had a great stretch of races, 3 runner-ups in a row. Chastain had some contact in there. Reddick was into Chastain, into Berry. 3 wide gets tied off turn 2 at Richmond. 4 wide is a whole different animal. And that's what they were there moments ago, and I'm surprised they didn't crash. Everybody holds on. Some of those slides on tires with the contact, not good for if we go into another longer green flag run. And knowing that we've only had 2 cautions for incidents so far tonight, is this the final restart with just more than 100 laps to go? North Wilkesboro Speedway, we went well over 100 laps green to the end of the race in the last short track affair just a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to do the tune into racing reference here because I didn't put it in my pre-race notes. And I just want to see in comparison to other Cup races at Richmond, again, we usually don't see a lot of cautions in this race. Now, we did have a yellow and an overtime restart a couple of years ago. The infamous Austin Dillon turning Logano and Hamlin for the win there in the final corner of the race. So we have had late cautions recently, but even in that race, we only had 2 yellows. And that was the second one. Last year we had 3. 2024 we had 3 for incident. 1 for incident in 2023 summer. We actually had 8 cautions in the spring race of 23. And then 5 in both the 2022 races. So usually 5 or less is what we're sitting at, minus 1 race, which I'm just going to say is an anomaly compared to the trends that we usually see. Could be the last restart. I would not be shocked if we see 1 more. And we've seen 2 of them in the middle of green flag pit stops already, so maybe if we were to see another caution, that's where it would happen. Because these drivers are going to have to pit 1 more time, and it's probably going to come in the final 50 to 60 laps of the race. Green for right now, Tyler Reddick up to 3rd and trying to close on both Logano and Briscoe ahead. Lucky strategy call. It is a race within the race of Reddick and Bell to try to get to the front of the field first. And on even just 5-lap fresher tires, it's obviously making a little bit of a difference. Reddick much deeper into the braking zone in turn 1 over Logano. It's a flip back over to the other side on only 5 laps, so are they consistently going to be faster throughout the course of the run? Because both Reddick and Bell have not really been in the top 5 tonight. They've been back half of the top 10, just outside the top 10 for most of the evening. They just haven't been as fast all night as Briscoe and Logano have been. That they have still yet to pass. And even that last lap, all pretty similar in lap times for the top 4. Reddick and Bell actually a little slower than Logano and Briscoe, so they tried to make advantage as much as they could in the restart. Definitely had a jump from where they were running before the caution came out and before the green flag pit stops even started. .132 laps led down for Briscoe. Evenly spaced throughout stage 2 and 3, but he has led more laps than anybody in the 3rd stage. Getting that quick jump on Logano from the lap 230 stage caution. Kyle Larson, who took the wave around at the back of the pack, trying to fend off any comers Any leaders that could be working their way back around to him? Still only 6 seconds off the lead. He's got decent pace, and it's only 5 lap older tires, so I think it was worth the wave around choice. He was very fortunate that of the cars that had come to pit road, it was enough that he was able to take the wave around. He was the only one that took the wave around because of just that. That with other cars staying out on the racetrack, not everybody a lap down was able to do that like they did the last time. So, where we've had more than 20 cars in the lead lap for most of the night, now we're sitting at 14 cars in the lead lap, which is the least amount that we've had this entire race. Showing a commercial here. Sorry, not a commercial, replay. Contact on track between Ty Gibbs. You can tell who that onboard camera was. 6 of Brad Keselowski, Gibson, Brad. Brad missing the corner, was in the middle of 3 wide. Had plenty of room to the car on the bottom, just lost the nose. Ryan Preece was underneath both of those cars, maybe trying to give his in-house team car a little bit more space, a little bit more room. Preece was up in the top 10 early, caught behind on that first caution in the middle of green flag stops at stage 2, dropped him out of the 7th place position at the time. He has not been back in the top 10 all night. And the second caution that just came out here, he's still lapped down in 18th. And right now, off of the free pass position by 2 spots. Full rundown of the running order off the restart with 90 laps to go. Chase Briscoe leads. Joey Logano in second. Christopher Bell now making a pass for third on Tyler Reddick. Reddick in fourth. Austin Cindric fifth. Chase Elliott is in sixth. Ryan Blaney 7th, William Byron 8th, Denny Hamlin 9th, and Alex Bowman in 10th. 11th for Josh Berry, Kyle Larson 12th, Shane Van Gisbergen 13th, 14th Ross Chastain, 15th is Daniel Suarez, 16th Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek 17th, Ryan Preece 18th, Noah Gragson 19th, and Austin Dillon in 20th. 21st, Chris Buescher, Riley Herbst 22nd, Bubba Wallace 23rd, Austin Hill 24th, and Eric Jones 25th. 26th is Michael McDowell with Connor Zilic 27th, Brad Keselowski 28th, Todd Gilliland 29th, and Cole Custer 30th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 31st, AJ Allmendinger 32nd, 33rd Ty Dillon, Cody Ware 34th, Josh Bilicki 35th, Zane Smith 36th, Carson Hocevar 37th. Will Smith and Hocevar are off track and probably out of the race. Crash for Smith, and he was actually on track long enough that when Hocevar DNF'd, he picked up another spot. Hocevar in last after blowing the transmission. 21 lead changes, 4 cautions, 2 hours, 27 minutes into the race, 31 laps of yellow through 314 laps complete out of 400. The lead is 1.4 seconds for Chase Briscoe over Joey Logano. 142 laps led and counting for our leader Briscoe. 68 for Logano, who won Stage 2. Stage 1 won by Ryan Blaney. He's led 88 laps today, second most in the race after starting on pole. 7 laps led leading up to the last caution for Tyler Reddick in the middle of green flag pit stops. 2 for Hamlin, 1 for Berry, 2 for Larson, 1 for Gibbs, 3 for Bubba Wallace, and those are all the drivers to lead at least 1 lap in the race. But only 3 of them have led under racing conditions, the others under green flag pit stops, more so than outright making passes or strategy to get to the lead itself. We'll see how the rest of this rides out.
What a night. He has never had an event at Richmond in the Cup Series like this. Started on the front row alongside Ryan Blaney and has found his groove this 3/4 of a mile racetrack. Leads Joey Logano by 1.5 seconds. A little further back is Josh Berry in 11th, Kyle Larson in 12th. There are 14 cars on the lead lap. Ross Chastain is that 14th and final car. With 84 to go in this race, the Cookout 400, it's time for Ones to Watch, presented by Credit One Bank. I'm going to go with Christopher Bell.
He's running in third position right now. This is the best he's been all night long. He just ran the fastest lap on the racetrack. The pay window is open, and Christopher Bell standing there with his hand out wants to check.
Well, if anybody knows about the pay window, how about Tyler Reddick? Hot start to the year that's cooled off recently. Well, he started 32nd tonight after a spin in practice. He had to pit an extra time for a loose tire, but then stayed on the racetrack, popped the yellow, and here he is in the fourth position. He has fallen to fourth in points. Can he right the ship and get a little momentum as we head to the chase?
Well, I'm going to follow my booth mates and not take either of the top two. I'm going to talk about car number 2, the Menards Ford of Austin Cindric. He runs 5th. He has only had one top 5 this year. That was all the way back at the beginning of the season in Darlington. He is having maybe the race of the 2026 season right when he needed to, because he's in that pressure cooker zone. He's in 15th. He was in 16th in points coming into tonight's race, and he has stood up, shown the speed, and said, look at me now, I can race like this heading to the chase. Let's talk about his teammate, Ryan Blaney, with Marty.
Sitting in 7th. Boy, this night started so promising for Ryan Blaney and the 12 team, leading 88 laps. But on this run, when they took right side tires, here's what Blaney said just a moment ago. So the brake pedal very soft on this run for Ryan Blaney. Just a moment ago, Jonathan Hassler's coach said, we're going to put in about 5 laps of this cycle. They need to go. Going to start very soon here in Richmond.
Well,
It's going to be a busy cycle, too. It's one thing in the first or the second stage because you know you're going to have a rinse and a reset, but this could be the run all the way to the checkered. 79 to go, 29 laps on this run. Some cars have a few more laps on their tires than that.
As you watch that Mob's Discount Furniture, number 11 of Denny Hamlin. Very special weekend this weekend with Richmond Raceway dedicating a section of the stand and the seats to the Hamlin family. Row H, seats 10 and 11. Of course, memories of Denny's late father and the family coming here. And a really special occasion last night where Denny's daughter, Taylor, sang the national anthem. As we go to one of the JGR cars, they tell us about Ty Gibbs. 1 lap down, Ty Gibbs is in and out with the 54 car on the lead lap and running well. Austin Cindric with the 2 car. Getting an adjustment here from the team along with 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Chase Briscoe, that's all that stands between him and his first ever short track win. Remember the move James Hall made earlier in the race and took on a set of stuffed college and resets. First lane here with the 19. Spread the points. Really made a better.
19 pulls off pit road. 22 of Logano sits in his box right now. 9 of Chase Elliott behind him as well. Kim.
And for Joey Logano, he said, going a little free. They asked him if he wanted to be tired. He said, yes, if I was tighter, I would be faster.
Faster's the goal. Concern about tight as you can't be in to burn the rear tires off if you could use more throttle. Dave.
My brother's already going to the right side of the car for Josh Ferry. Nicely around the front end there. Josh trying to get to the end here. Got another race finish under short track for the driver of the 21. Meanwhile, Hamlin Hopkins Road in the 11th car. Really short from the driver, so they'll try to get an adjustment here as he hits his marks. And his team giving the service to that all night. It's been quick. They gain spots on the road. You see the tear off there, so the driver can clearly see what he's doing. Joey Logano running up close there and chasing down Tyler Reddick.
Logano, job Reddick, you have to come to pit running along as well. I thought the 2 of Cindric was going to make up more time. He's about 10 car lengths behind the 22 because he came a lap sooner. But I'll admit the 22 of Joey Logano efficient. 45 continuing to run long. They're going to try to play the other side of the strategy. The question is, are they only going to pit twice? Or are they only going to pit once? What's the 45 thinking?
I think
They're
so.
going to get another yellow as they run long, losing time.
I think pitting once is
What benefit
all
of
the make here.
time round at that last
Only 7 laps to go.
Carson Hosebar had to stop.
I like the strategy
Down the
Bell and
yellow.
Reddick are on. I think this is the win that wins the race.
Team. Now check this out. You've got Christopher Bell. We wait on him to come and pit.
Plus, if
Here is Austin Cindric going around high, chasing his teammate Joey Logano. Logano's about to enter turn one now. Cindric is there at the moment.
A little bit of trouble. 11 of Denny Hamlin on the green flag cycle. Remember, he had fallen back a little bit with the handling. Right side looks good, but watch the jack when it goes to the left side. Under the car, but set. An issue. Didn't get under the post. Tire change is waiting. Bleeding time. These pit stops are so fast now, right? He was 7 seconds back when he pitted. We'll get an update when he comes back, but he absolutely lost time to the leaders on that cycle.
Brutal at such a short track like Richmond.
Steve, you're in the pit box right now, and you're the crew chief of the 20 car. He is staying out. So many others have pitted. At what point do you give up and you coming down to pit road?
What I'm doing is I'm looking where I'm going to cycle, and I will run long until I can pit and come out right in front of the leader 1 lap down. I don't want to go 2. I'm going to run as long as I can, where when I pit and return to the racetrack, I am almost 2 laps down, kind of like we saw Larson that time, then use the new tires and see how I can go.
We'll look for a cleaner stop this time for Larson. Remember, a little slow on the left side. Last stop, tight center, loose in, and off as they go. You saw that chassis adjustment in addition to 4 fresh Goodyear tires and snow.
Wait for Bell, Reddick, and Blaney to come in and pit. And you pick up the 19 of Chase Briscoe. He's got about 4 seconds over Joey Logano at the moment. Here's Christopher Bell. What's the strategy play here for the 20 team?
If I'm driving this 20 car, I know what we're doing. I see everybody else is pitted, and I immediately know that my job is to make the best lap time I can. I've got to focus. I got to get 100% out of this car. It's way slower than the guys around me because they have new tires, but I still have a job to do. And if I don't execute my job, then Steve's strategy becomes that much more difficult.
As these cars, and the other thing is this race has a tendency to have a couple yellows near the finish. So the other strategy is don't get caught up in the emotion.
Once.
With 66 to go, you think we're here, we're at the end. No, 66.
Let's summer race at Richmond.
So just take a breath and try to continue to push those tire usages out.
But when you're playing this strategy, Jeff, and you're seeing everybody, like Hamlin's about to do, his teammate from Joe Gibbs Racing, when you see everybody whip by, how difficult is it to stay composed?
Look at the line that Tony ran. He ran the middle of the racetrack to carry as much speed as he could to give the bottom to everybody else so he didn't get slowed down. There is an art that you as a driver have to be willing to execute while you're getting past. You go to the bottom of that situation, it's going to slow you down a great deal. Give those guys the lane, but go in a lane where you can make lap time. You see right here, he won't be on the bottom of this end of the racetrack. It has a lot to do with where they're catching you, where you need to be.
Spotters got to have to be on their toes because the closing rates now with new tires and old tires get to be really messy. When everybody pits together, it has kind of a cadence. But when you kind of have this, game of hopscotch, this guy is faster than this guy, and you just don't know, Jeff, right? You drive him behind a guy and realize all of a sudden he's a way older tires and you run him over on corner entry.
So 63 to go. That's all. And we wait and watch. When do we see Bell, Reddick, enter pit road?
Briscoe already back up to 3rd place. Joey Logano in 4th, catching fastly on both Reddick and Bell, who have yet to be onto pit road. Reddick Bell on the one-stop strategy. Got to do something different to beat the 19 and the 22, and that was pitting during the last caution, running long, one stop the rest of the way. Now do the leaders maybe go and pit again? I would assume they're going to pit one more time. I doubt that they're only going to pit the once, because if everybody pits once, I think easily Bell and Reddick win this race. I do like the strategy they're on at the moment. Christopher Bell with a 1.7 second advantage over Briscoe. It's going to be another lap or two. Now 6/10 back. Yeah, this coming lap, Briscoe should make a pass for the lead on Christopher Bell. That would leave us with about 60 laps to go. $17 laps led for Bell, his first laps led of the night. Each of the top 5 in laps led on the season, I think, have all led because I believe Hamlin led during green flag pit stops. Yeah, he led 2 laps during green flag stops earlier in the day. I think that was stage 2. Bell led for 9, and now Briscoe back in the lead again. Or 17, sorry, for Bell, and now Briscoe back in the lead again. So pretty easily, Chase Briscoe blowing by his teammate Christopher Bell to take the top spot. Joey Logano a couple seconds back, and after losing the lead, how much longer does the 20 team stay out? Tyler Reddick is down on the pit road.
We've been asking the question, Dave Burns, waiting, watching, wondering when Tyler Reddick's coming in. Here he is.
The time is now, I think, when they finish this up on the night, started 32nd on the day. We're done.
Christopher Bell in that 20 car is going to cancel that call. Tyler also Toyota onto the road. Time to fire off in the ball.
Green, I believe this is going to be the last pit stop for the 45 to 20. A yellow would change it, but I really believe that this right here is their plan. They just ran over 50 laps on this set of tires, 56 laps to go. If you're asking which strategy is going to win, so is everyone in the grandstands and on top of the pit box. And I truly believe math isn't going to tell you the answer. It's going to be traffic. Who operates through traffic cleanly? You see Bell back on the racetrack. He needs to just continue to work through traffic as efficiently as possible. That is the variable in this pit stop equation.
It's really interesting to me because
I've seen offense at the end of these Richmond races in the past look like that is the driver that has won the races, whether that would be the next gen era or the end of the Gen 6 when this track was starting to take quite a bit of tire fall off. That the drivers who had the fresher tires late are the ones on the winning strategy, or at least a driver that is on the strategy of fresher tires, probably the one that's the fastest or the one up at the front of the field, is the one that carries it out the longest. Ryan Blaney has not yet been to pit road at all. He's in 9th place. It's kind of funny that they said on the radio communications, like way back with 80 laps to go, they were going to come to pit road in 5 laps because they got a bit of a brake problem. Now Ryan Blaney's coming in with about 57 laps to go. I misread. Sorry, 53 laps to go.
time of pitting. 53 to go from here. He's coming your way, Marty.
Yeah, Lee, you could just see those brake rotors blow from Ryan Blaney in 3 and 4 as he was coming to pit road. And this is an example how quickly the strategy can change here at Richmond. They initially thought about going early in this cycle, but they decided to go very long, a little bit long there on the right side, trying to get the
I think they were just fooling everybody.
As you mentioned, Lee had fallen back to 9th. Now going to be 4 tires for Blaney with 52 to go.
Off the screen, the 20th Bell closing in on the leader of the 19. Jeff, we talked about this in pre-race. This is where you're holding your breath. You're a lap down at Adams.
Yep, Christopher Bell going to get his lap back this time on Chase Briscoe. Kind of a tight maneuver for Briscoe in the middle of 3 wide as he had a lapper, Colt Custer on the top. And he was not really giving Bell a whole lot of room either to make that pass to get back on the lead lap, because that is probably the driver he's going to be racing for the win with. Him and Joey Logano, of course, who is a little bit better on the long run than Briscoe for most of the day, except for that last run. That last run, Briscoe did a great job managing his tires throughout the course of the front portion of the tire life to the back portion of it before the green flag pit stop. By far the best Briscoe has been from the start to finish of a run this evening. But now his lead's only 1.5 seconds, and Logano has been a bit better in traffic, about a 10th of a second a lap faster each of the last several laps. So maybe Briscoe not able to replicate what he did the last run and save his tires quite as well as Logano. Logano did pit 1 lap later than Briscoe, but I don't think that that's going to be a difference, especially not with this many tires on laps on tires, excuse me. This is going to be a very interesting one. Ryan Blaney, after being on pit road, is in 15th. And he's got about 20 to 25 lap fresher tires than everybody around him. Christopher Bell has about 20 lap fresh tires than the leaders. Blaney pitted 4 or 5 laps after Bell. 5 laps on Blaney's tires, 10 for Bell. Bell's in 11th. And I want to see if there's any lap time difference between the 12 and the 20 here. 23.949 the last lap for Bell. Blaney ran a 23.522. So Blaney was 0.4 quicker that last lap. But the problem is Blaney's still lapped down. And Bell is 17 seconds off the lead in 10th. Well, I said the fresher tires later in the race is going to be the one that wins it, but I think Blaney might be a little bit too far back and not gaining as much time. And I don't think he's going to continue to be 0.4 faster over the entire run, only 5 laps fresher of tires. Really wish he would have taken the 4 tires instead of 2 when they took 2 on that last caution. Reddick and Bell both took 4. And they rocketed in front of Blaney on that last restart, and I don't think Blaney had anything for him. Blaney stayed right around 7th, 8th place, right where he restarted. Well, those two jumped from about 8th, 9th place all the way up to 3rd and 4th. And while they settled in after a couple laps, it was just that fire-off speed was that much better, having the 4 fresh tires versus 2. And honestly, that could be what cost Blaney a shot at the win here tonight. Because he had been outpacing both Bell and Reddick all day on speed. So I don't doubt in my mind he could have been up there with them. Probably would have been behind them, but he would have been closer to the front, within a second or two versus like 7 seconds back, I believe is what he was, at least to the leader when the pit stops initially started some time ago. 40 laps left this time by, and Logano has closed the gap now to within about 4 or 5 car lengths, maybe even less than that, to Briscoe. 41 laps left. 170 laps led today for Briscoe, but Joey Logano is hungry as ever, looking for yet another win. Got over 4 seconds to the 3rd place car, Austin Cindric. Christopher Bell is up to 9th, and he's still 13.5 seconds back. Does Briscoe, Logano, and those guys pit again? I think they are. I'd be shocked if they run all the way to the finish. But then are they going to have enough time to not only race each other here, but also make up the time on Bell? And as they race each other, they're going to be costing themselves some time versus those that they're going to be racing later. So Logano trying to make a quick pass on Briscoe. He got to the outside, but he is not clear yet. Side by side for the lead. And Logano is clear off turn 2. So Joey Logano out in front. Oh, Briscoe! Deep into the braking zone. He's coming to pit road at the last second with Joey Logano.
First him.
As soon as Logano took the lead from the 19 of Chase Briscoe, they said, pit. This will be the last set of sticker tires that are going on this sport for Joey, and he is down and away, Marty.
Boy, move, counter move. James Wilson. He said I was way too shitty on that run. They drew it out of the race up now the crews. Briscoe and Logano, it's a track race. Logano was the lead. Was lifted right here.
Barely going to hold the lead. Nose to tail leaving pit road. Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe as they were the leaders on their way in. Christopher Bell will cycle back out in front. And I would assume, no, they did not lap Logano and Briscoe. So Logano and Briscoe are about 15 seconds off of Christopher Bell. But they do have another set of tires left, if I'm not mistaken. Some drivers do, some do not. We know for Logano, that was the last set of sticker tires. Denny Hamlin's in the pits.
In front of the 19 while trying to run Bell down. That's basically the stage has been set with 36 to go. Let's see right here. Logano, his lap time, a 22.98. Bell ran a 24.48. So a big speed difference with the 22 car.
For Christopher Bell fans, you know the story all too well. 7 times this year, he has finished second. As recently as last weekend in Iowa, where it was a 2-tire call. This is a 4-tire call against his teammate. He is sick of finishing second. Bell wants to go to victory lane.
He does, but I just don't think he's got anywhere near the pace to hold on. He's a 2.5 seconds slower a lap than Logano and Briscoe, and they're already within 8.5 seconds of the leader. So, next question is, does Bell and Reddick pit again? Assuming that they have another set of tires to do so. I'm not sure if they do or not. And are they going to have enough laps left to counteract the 22 and the 19? And I don't think they will because they didn't even get back to the lead on that last run. And Christopher Bell got to within 7 or 8 seconds, and that was it. Before Logano and Briscoe pitted. Fresher tires late is the strategy call that wins these Richmond races. And Logano, Briscoe are on fresher tires now late. Maybe Bell counteracts and does it. At this point, I think you just got to ride it out. Ride it out and hope for a caution. Because while Bell and Reddick are going to fall out of the lead, they still got 15 seconds back to Austin Cindric, who is in 5th. So they would fall to 3rd and 4th, where they were running before all the green flag pit stops started, even the first cycle for the leaders with about 80 to go. It was worth the gamble if they end up finishing 3rd and 4th where they were running. The big gamble was staying out long on the caution before that, or the green flag run before that by Tyler Reddick, to score themselves a top 5 finish today when they hadn't ran top 5 the entire race before that. Blaney end up 18 seconds behind Bell. Bell leads. Blaney, 18 seconds back. Was it a slow stop? It must have been a slow stop because Elliott and Byron are ahead of Blaney. I don't think they were before that last caution. Well, headed down the home stretch, less than 30 to go. The cat's crying. The cat wants attention. I don't know how well you can hear that on the mic. She's meowing at me. She just had food like 30 minutes ago, so it's not because she's hungry. Like, play with me. You've been sitting in the chair for 3.5 hours. Christopher Bell still the leader by 1.2 seconds, but Joey Logano fastly approaching him, should get there in a lap or two. Well, Bell might come close again, but on the bright side, I don't think he's going to finish second. Probably more like 3rd. And quite the hot streak for that 20 team. But honestly, not breaking through into victory lane right now isn't the worst thing for them, because they're probably only going to get up to as high as 5th in points anyway. If they can beat the 19 team, who was only 4 points ahead of them coming into the night. And here comes Logano to the outside. No contest with 25 laps to go. Logano to the lead. Now, does Briscoe have anything for the 22 car? And how quickly can he get by the 20? He's held up for now because there's side-by-side traffic. There's another lap car. I think that was Ty Dillon in the 10 that was trying to get by Bell on the high side. Briscoe down to the bottom. Sails it off into the corner, trying to get to the inside of Dillon. After already clearing Bell in the middle of the front stretch, Briscoe's about 0.6 of a second off the lead. Kind of been the cat and mouse game. Briscoe's been better in the short run than Logano, so although he's quicker now, is there going to be a long enough run that Joey could get it back? It's going to be quite the battle between the 19 and the 22. I don't think it's over yet. Well, the 22 was gapping him initially until he caught Bell. I was thinking it was over, but Briscoe's right there. He's hovering. And he's definitely driving the entry of the corners a lot deeper than what Joey Logano is, but he's given up the corner exit speed, which is the same kind of thing that was happening when he was battling Ryan Blaney, the other Penske Ford, all the way back in stage 1 some couple hours ago. Yeah, no squeaky toy. The cat definitely wants attention. Cat's just laying on the floor now, so that's good. Hopefully the cat just stays calm for me to call the finish of this race, and then I'll give her all the attention before I go to bed here within the next hour. Josh Berry still having a good performance today at 8th place. Worthy of my Underdog of the Race award. Through the cycling and pit stops that we've had, the longer green flag runs, we're still sitting at 12 cars in the lead lap, Ryan Blaney being the last of which. And he's on much older tires than the leader, Logano, so he's probably going to get lapped as well if it stays green to the finish. There's just so few of laps left at this point. I mean, Bell, Reddick, Blaney, they're just going to have to stay out of the pits and hope they don't lose too many more spots. Cindric just passed Reddick for 4th. Another 4 seconds ahead would be Bell in 3rd. Every position worth a point. Cindric was 16th in the standings entering the day. Laps going down quickly. Briscoe only a half a second back the last time by on Joey Logano and still kind of clicking away faster laps. Are these two going to catch lap traffic? How aggressive will they both be? We know Joey Logano to be aggressive, but I wouldn't doubt that Chase Briscoe isn't going to be aggressive too. We've seen it before. Those Stuart Haas days when he was crashing into people for wins. Remember, he took Reddick out of, I think it was the 600 and the Bristol Dirt Race one year when they were battling for wins late. Lost control, kind of overdriving it. Obviously more honed into his craft now in his JGR days as Briscoe, but it's the same guy. So we'll see. Got so close to a win here 2 years ago. Had until crashed by Austin Dillon on the overtime restart. Looking for vengeance on that day. For the win here tonight. Toyotas have just been so quick everywhere we go. And there's always one of the 2311 or JGR Toyotas that are up at the front of the field, vouching for a victory late. And this week it's Chase Briscoe. Ryan Blaney just got lapped by his teammate Joey Logano. He's going to race Briscoe as hard as he can to try to hold him up a bit. Briscoe was tightly side by side on the inside of the 12 off turn 2. Might have cut a little bit of that corner exit speed down. Cleared Blaney off 4 this time, though. We're down to 14 laps left. And Briscoe lost about a 10th trying to pass Blaney. Now just 11 cars on the lead lap. Alex Bowman being the last of which. And I don't think he's going to get caught by the leaders. He's still about 7 seconds ahead of Logano. 17 seconds off the lead. Last lap ran by Joey at 24.681. And last lap he was a bit quicker than Briscoe after losing ground to Blaney 2 laps in a row. Logano's been faster than the 19. Bell still in 3rd, but 8 seconds back. Cindric actually a couple tenths faster than both the 19 and the 22. I think he might have pitted. No, he did pit at the same lap, actually. Could just caught lap traffic in a better spot. Now Cindric's up to 3rd, passing Christopher Bell. Chase Elliott on fresher tires in 5th. a chance to get by Bell also. Tyler Reddick in the 45 has fell back to 8th place. And he is about 9 seconds off of the 20 car. He's really lost pace to Christopher. 11 laps to go. Lead is still 6.5 tenths. 2 lap cars right in front of Joey Logano. Could cost him some time, and it definitely did through 1 and 2. Briscoe gained 2 to 3 car lengths alone in one corner. So 71 of Michael McDowell kind of changed his line in the middle of the corner. It looked like he was going to give Joey the bottom, but Joey was already working that middle to upper groove of the track. Much cleaner and efficient pass for the 19 of Briscoe to get by McDowell. And so the gap is a half a second. 9 laps to go this time by. There are still going to be some slower lap cars in the way of both of the top 2. Briscoe gains a lot of ground off turn 4 that last time by. Wow, he caught Joey Logano napping or something there. Joey's been better on the drive-offs, but not that last time. That was a huge gain by Briscoe. Manages through 1 and 2, maybe even gains a slight bit more. And now into 3 and 4, we'll see if Briscoe gets another run at him again. Joey much better at the drive-off this lap than the lap prior. It's going to be a fight to the finish. Joey Logano versus Chase Briscoe for the win at Richmond. Lap traffic is side by side in front of Logano. Logano slipped up the track a little bit. Center of the corner. Briscoe 3 car lengths back on the entry to turn 3. Gains a lot in the front half of the corner. Gets to the back of Joey Logano. Huge gain again. Logano picks the throttle up, manages on the front stretch, but overall Briscoe gained in 3 and 4. Briscoe with a wider line now through 1 and 2, at least on entry. Middle of the corner, cuts down to the yellow line. Riley Herbst in the 35, a Toyota driver right in front of Joey Logano. Pinches him down a bit. This is going to hurt Joey on corner exit. More out of the way for Briscoe. Just 6 laps to go. Things are heating up fast. Still at 2.5 to 3 car length lead for Logano. If Briscoe gets to the back bumper at any point, does he choose to use it? I also know that if you do that to Joey Logano, he will get you back at some point, even if it's not this week. Follow William Byron back at Darlington a couple years ago. Whether it's accidental or on purpose, he will get you back. And Briscoe really rolls the entry well, but I think he slipped too far up the racetrack than what he probably wanted to go. So those front tires turning right to go left there, up turn 4, dirt tracking it, if you will. That's going to bite him a little bit of time. 3 to go at the line around this 3/4 mile short track. Does Briscoe have anything for Logano? Still a decent amount of lap traffic in front of the 22 car. There's a couple cars lined up on the inside. Austin Hill and I believe Eric Jones or Nemechek, one of the legacy cars. And they're side by side on the front stretch. And one of those cars is a Toyota. That'd be Eric Jones. Logano, I wouldn't say got through there completely clean. Not terrible. Briscoe's running out of time, though. 3 car lengths off the lead still. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Joey Logano at Richmond. The cat and mouse game through traffic. Joey Logano has managed well enough. 1 corner away from victory. I believe Briscoe's going to be too far back to try anything here. Checkered flag waves. Joey Logano, winner at Richmond Raceway. 2nd win of the 2026 summer stretch. Both on short tracks. North Wilkesboro, a Richmond victory, and Joey Logano, just like that, 2 wins on the season. Led for 95 laps tonight. Margin of victory, 0.3 of a second. 171 laps led for Briscoe. A stage win and a race win for Joey. Good points day. Austin Cindric comes in third with a much needed good points day as well. Denny Hamlin fourth, and Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 and fifth. Kyle Larson, from the depths of hell, comes back to finish sixth. I don't even know how that happened. Christopher Bell in seventh. Josh Berry eighth, gets our underdog of the race award. Ninth for William Byron, and Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. So all 4 Hendrick Chevys get top 10 finishes tonight. Kyler Reddick ends up 11th, last car in the lead lap. Ross Chastain, first car lap down in 12th. 13th for Ryan Blaney. 14th, Shane Van Gisbergen. 15th, Ty Gibbs. Daniel Suarez, 16th. Ryan Preece, 17th. Noah Gragson, 18th. Austin Dillon, 19th. And Bubba Wallace, 20th. Chris Buescher, 21st. John Hunter Nemechek, 22nd. Austin Hill, 23rd. Riley Herbst, 24th. And Connor Zilic, 25th. Brad Keselowski, 26th. Eric Jones, 27th. Michael McDowell, 28th. Cole Custer, 29th. And Todd Gillen, 30th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 31st. Ty Dillon, 32nd. AJ Allmendinger, 33rd. Cody Ware, 34th. Josh Bilicki, 35th. Zane Smith, 36th. And Carson Hocevar, 37th. 29 lead changes, 31 laps of yellow, 4 cautions, 2 for incident, 1 in stage 2, 1 in stage 3. 3 hours, 3 minutes, and 2 seconds total time on tonight's race. 400 laps, finishing under the regulation length. Again, Joey Logano, stage 2 winner. Ryan Blaney, stage 1 winner from the pole. And, of course, race winner, Joey Logano. He is on the front stretch here at Richmond. Let's listen in for his race-winning interview.
And for this 22 bunch, man, they know how to do it in the second half of the season. And Joey Logano gets win number 3 in front of a sellout crowd here at Richmond.
Win number 2, by the way. I don't like up 3.
Shirt on. Wow. This team knows how to get it done when it counts. And Joey, if I'd have told you mid-May you would have 2 wins by mid-August, would you have believed me?
Don't let the boys get hot. We're pretty strong right now. It's awesome to see the speed in the 22 again. Gosh, it was a great car. We've had a great car here the last 5 races, and we haven't been able to capitalize on the win. We've been so close, but sweet redemption today.
You said we are back. Is it time for everybody else to start taking this team as a legit championship threat, Joey?
I think so. I mean, we got a strong team, no doubt, and we got obviously Paul made some great calls there. Pullman did a good job, but the 19 was better than us that last run. So yeah, I was trying to just manage the tires, but still get that gap, and just kind of a fun back and forth battle. Kind of fun strategy there too, with different strategies out there. It's a typical Richmond race, so pretty cool to get one here, and on the loud and get another one.
I was going to ask you about the 19 catching you, what was going through your mind, because he did look a little bit better than you at the end of that run.
Yeah, he was faster. I kind of took off there, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I just got to pass the 20, and then I just fell off harder the last run there. And so, it was a fun, like I said, a little cat and mouse game there at the end, back and forth. But yeah, it's getting the points that we need. This is important. We need to get ourselves back into the top 10. I assume this gets us probably pretty close after.
Nice. How about that?
Even better. So, keep grinding.
All right, Joey Logano mentions on to Loudon, where, by the way,
unbelievable. In just 6 races, Joey Logano goes from 20th in points to 9th in the standings. That's what this summer stretch of races will do for you, Joey Logano. Of course, 2 wins in that stretch, a 3rd at Indianapolis, a boatload of stage points, a 9th at Atlanta. He has been hot. He has been red hot. 20th to 9th in points in just 6 races. Unbelievable. Oh, we were talking about this guy potentially missing the chase this year, and then he ends up not only pretty much putting those rumors to bed, but now he's maybe an outside championship contender. I'm not going to rule him out. That's for sure. Even your Joey Logano. Now, in all seriousness aside, or all silliness aside, congratulations to Joey Logano getting the race win here tonight. over Chase Briscoe and the rest of the field, and definitely was on top of the world yet again. Will he go for another one next week in New Hampshire? Very well possible. We're going to be live for that regular season finale for the Truck Series next week at New Hampshire. O'Reilly will be off again. And then obviously the Cup Series race on Sunday as well. 2:30 p.m. Eastern start for that Cup race on Sunday. Rest of the start times for the rest of the streaming schedule for next weekend will be uploaded in the community tab later in the week. Next week, of course, it's only Saturday night here still. Thank goodness it's Saturday. Have a good rest of your night. Enjoy your Sunday afternoon tomorrow for our off day. And we'll be back at it again next weekend. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.